Mortal Kombat 1 trailer.
That was probably the highlight of the whole fucking show, to be honest.
What's up, baby?
Well, Nicolas Cage being on Mario was pretty funny.
He's so much younger than I would have expected him to look. I think he's a vampire.
Have you ever seen the movie where he like thinks he's a vampire?
I saw there's one recently where I think he's just actually Dracula.
Yeah, Renfield. Yeah, I saw it. It was good.
Talking about one when he's really young, one of his first, like before he got his teeth done and stuff. Crazy, though. It was crazy. Yeah.
What was that? I was about to look up. Oh, who's that new character they announced for Hawkeye Star Rail? And nobody cares. It doesn't matter. I can do no one cares. Yeah, I mean, I liked Genshin, but I haven't touched it yet. I guess I probably will at some point.
Okay, I see. Alright.
By the way, they can hear us in the chat. Yeah, that's what they're saying.
Well, not anymore.
Gearing up for war, don't get it mixed up. I come in peace, kid. I'm bringing commentary and the new releases. I put them hours in to get prepared now. We play on expert level, don't get scared now. I'ma destroy you when I'm forza, I can tear down. If you ain't tuned into the channel, keep your head down. Cut the fix up with some Xbox babies, put the switch up. See me gearing up for war, don't get it mixed up. I come in peace, kid. I'm bringing commentary and the new releases. I put them hours in to get prepared now. We play on expert level, don't get scared now. I'ma destroy you when I'm forza, I can tear down. If you ain't tuned into the channel, keep your head down.
just keep
Yo.
a loop of.
There we go, guys. Hey, yo, welcome to the fix. I'm not sure how great my quality of sound is right now, unfortunately, but stick with us. You're joined here with myself and Daniel McGee. Daniel.
What's up?
And we have 4 guests with us tonight, but it seems to be just 2 right now that joined us, and we're waiting for Keasanti to join us soon. So we're joined here by our good brother Agent Deli.
Hello. Thanks for having me back. I really appreciate that. It's a nice time for media just in general, right, guys? We've had a lot of movies and we've got a lot of games coming out.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And of course, a good friend of ours and mine, of course, is Red Dead Panda.
Thank you very much for having me on, Umbra. Excited to be here and talk about what we just saw with the Summer of Game Fest show.
Yes.
Thank you for having me on, by the way.
Oh, thank you for coming through. Thank you both for coming through. It is something. This is like our Super Bowl year. Like this kind of like our Super Bowl or our Christmas, if you will. So it's always good to see this. I love the showcase summer, if you will. So that's what's funny. It's like the only thing I do like in the summer is this. I don't care for the summer. I hate the summer.
Yeah. Now that I'm not in school anymore, summer doesn't do much for me because it's like, oh, hey, it's hot and I'm working.
Right. Yeah.
Sick.
It's not really doing. What do you guys feel about summer? You love it, Deli? You love it?
Oh
Panda?
yeah, I'm a huge fan. I'm from Vietnam, so our weather there is by the equator, so it never gets below 75. I think the coldest it gets is 73. So summer to me, I'm like, this is great. Like summer, early fall. I detest the cold, so I hate having to bundle up and stuff. So I'd rather be inside all winter with my space heater than be outside at all.
Yeah, I hear you.
Makes sense.
I detest summer, and it's just so much going on here in Chicago. I just wanted to blanket the city in frost and everybody to stay in the house. I don't know.
Mind summer when we actually get a summer here. The only thing you have to be really careful about in New Zealand is we've got a hole in the ozone layer, so you get sunburnt in 15 minutes.
Oh,
isn't it because you're on the other side of the world almost directly? So isn't your summer
It's winter right now?
Yeah. Pretty
Yeah.
cool.
So I'm freezing my ass off today.
So
it's 94 here in Texas.
Oh man, too much for me. So we had a couple of good games announced during this. I will give them some credit. Jeff Keighley, I thought, had a good pacing for the show. And one of the games we can see on screen right now, which was a bit of a surprise to me, actually. I didn't expect it. I was also shocked on the design choice of it, but not in a bad way, though, for me. Some were not too excited for it during the party I was in watching it, but I liked it from what I saw. And we're going to go to you guys first and then rotate around. So, Danny, I'll let you take care of that.
Cool. So I figured a good sort of format for this that we could test out for future showcases is I think we'll just start by all giving our very surface level thoughts, and then I'll run through the showcase sort of announcement by announcement, and we can jump in wherever we want. So I'll start with just my top level thoughts. I didn't care for this showcase. I thought it was... It's hard to say that it was bad, because I think it was pretty much exactly what I expected it to be. And I think pretty much content-wise, I think it was on par with the PlayStation show, maybe even a little bit better. But I also have very different expectations for a Summer Game Fest than I do for a PlayStation showcase. So it's not really a super fair comparison. Because I feel like with a PlayStation showcase, what I'm looking for is for them to sell me on the idea of PlayStation and sell me a console and do those sorts of things. And so I am looking for but which of these games are going to only be on my PlayStation? Which of these games are, being made by first party, that sort of thing. So I feel like the bar for a third party showcase like this is much lower. And so I think I came out of it much more positive than I did on the PlayStation showcase, even though it maybe factually was closer than emotionally I feel about it. But I would say I think the biggest problem with this was just pacing. I think the pacing of this was a nightmare. It was there's no reason that this showcase needed to be more than an hour, and instead it's a full 2 hours. I really did not need Jeff Keighley talking between absolutely every single trailer. I didn't need most of those interviews, and I usually like hearing from devs. You know, I like to hear sort of what they're passionate about and why they wanted to make the games that they made. But in this case, I feel like pretty much none of the interviews actually added anything other than time. So, man, I'm pretty low on the showcase as a whole, even though I think it had some pretty cool announcements. But Deli, where are you at with it?
Surface level, I think it's like a 3 out of 10. I really only cared, or at least I really only motivated to care about very few of the releases, which is kind of depressing, or at least which is kind of sad for me as a gamer, right, or as a consumer in general. Is that like we should be happy with games and media and stuff just like flowing down the pipe and getting like an abundance of it. But for me, I don't know. It kind of seems like a lot of these shows are kind of a slog at times, right? Like you mentioned about the pacing and then like the TV show announcements and stuff, and it feels more like sometimes the showcases are more like game related stuff and not necessarily like just games, which is cool. You know, Jeff's got to pay his bills somehow, right? It's not a soup kitchen, but at the same time, like I don't come here for the Twisted Metal TV show. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm here to find out about what I can be playing in the next, quote unquote 12 months, right?
Especially when I'm singing like the thong song. I don't know if anybody was expecting.
I'm gonna be honest with you. When I saw Will Arnett, I was like, all right, this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be like they're gonna have fun. But I think it just felt like it was. I just felt a little weird. I don't know how I feel about it. Yeah. I hope it's good fun, and I hope that excerpt is just like out of context weird. But well, we'll see how it goes.
It does worry me a little bit to be like, hey, this was the clip that they chose to put in there, but oof, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Just to let everybody know, because you can't see him on screen, but our good brother Kay Asante has joined us. Kay, what's up, brother?
Good evening. Can y'all hear me?
Absolutely.
Yes. Hello.
Fantastic. Apologies for being late. My little people just don't know when to go to sleep.
It's all right, brother. It's all right. So basically, we're just kind of going over our general thoughts of it while I play the background of the showcase.
Yeah.
I always kind of format the things, even with the audience, by saying we're not going to be here too long to discuss it. And this show, this show doesn't warrant it, being honest. But it is funny because we always say it and it always go over. So I am so trying to stick to it tonight. This time, I really am. So
yeah. So speaking of which, Panda, what were your thoughts on the show? Just sort of top level.
It's just. No, you can call me Panda. It's fine.
Okay.
Because confusion between like Red Wolf and myself. So yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I think overall, it was an okay show. It just reminded me, like he starts off the show kind of talking about how it's the first time of this in person since everything's kind of gone on and happened around this time, like as E3 has really gone virtual. And so I kind of feel like he kind of went overboard on the people interaction and getting people in person and all of that, to the point where it felt like it wasn't really about games itself. There was all this. The pacing was awful. I agree with you guys 100% on the pacing, but it felt like a spectacle rather than kind of enticing us to sit there. Like 2 hours, way too long for this. There were some highlights in the showcase itself, like Mortal Kombat 1, and I'm not a fighting game person, but I looked at that and I was like, damn, like I'm excited. Yeah. We're going to get into it anyway and talk about the games, but there was just lots of things that weren't relevant to me as a gamer, and everyone's going to run into that same situation. But like, I guess my biggest issue was like some of the games that were third party shown on the PlayStation Showcase. I understand maybe why they put the dates here instead on certain things, but like we've seen Street Fighter 6 so many times now that I've kind of just, and it's out, right? released?
Yeah, Street Fighter 6. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was
yeah.
out or if it was coming out soon.
I'm pretty sure it's out,
Mm-hmm.
or it's something like
It's
that,
out.
or it's coming soon.
It's out. Yeah.
Yeah, but there was like, and we'll talk about this, like the Spider-Man date announcement. Why was that not at the PlayStation showcase? Like, there's just it was the weirdest type of showcase. I feel like where it was kind of merging. I don't know how to describe it, but it felt very much like patchworked together. Yeah,
That's a good way to put it. Actually.
Yeah, I wasn't overly impressed. There was so much of things that we'd kind of seen and stuff that just didn't really hit home with me. And yeah, I don't know. I haven't even been able to score it yet because I'm still kind of
Processing.
looking at it
Yeah.
and stuff, because it's a third party showcase, so you do have to take into account that the expectations are going to be that, and then you also have to take into account like what Jeff Keighley has done in the past.
True.
With his showcases, and it's very much reminiscent of that. There was just a lot of him, and it was too much Jeff Keighley in this show for me. But yeah, I was like, when are we getting a release date for when he's not going to be on the showcase? Can we get that?
No, I agree with you.
Fair.
Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts.
I agree with you there, and I think it was just a lot of questionable things, and not even just from Keighley, but from Sony for me. And
Yeah.
we'll get to it soon. But I was confused. I'm like, why? Okay, this may have helped you. So I just thought some of it was a little odd. The shows and movies, whatever, and they showed during it. I'll just say TV shows because I think they were all TV shows, from The Witcher to Twisted Metal.
Okay. That's the only one I was okay with, but that could have been at the start of the showcase.
Yeah.
Like I mean, it was towards the start, but it didn't need to be at the actual showcase.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I understand it being here, but also Netflix is having their own event like in a couple weeks, so I don't know. But I don't know. I guess it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Hype, right?
One thing I'll say, as far as Kay, I want to bring you in too for this, but I will say Mortal Kombat, I think, was probably the highlight of the show, personally. It's on screen, of course, now.
It leaves me with some questions, but we'll definitely talk about those.
Probably like story-wise, right? I imagine.
Yes, but also in terms of just like characters. I'd love to hear you and Kay Sante's thoughts before we get.
Yeah. So Kay, what were your general thoughts of everything?
Sure, yeah, and I haven't had a chance to podcast with you before, Red Dead Panda. So thank you, welcome, nice to meet you. I agree by and large. Yeah, I agree by and large with your assessment. On the point of Mortal Kombat, I think with Mortal Kombat and maybe one or two few more games saved it for me. It seems like it is this way every year, but more this year than most years. It seems like this is the runoff game show where they kind of, we have our own thing planned, but let's throw Keighley a bone, so we'll give him the runoff content. You know what I mean? So it seems to have affected his pacing drastically, to where there are some of the content he had to show was really, really excellent and was worth the wait and worth watching, but not a lot of it wasn't at that level. So he had to come up with filler, and the filler he had just wasn't at that level, so it kind of fluctuated wildly, right? You have your Mortal Kombat 1 that everybody's trying to see, and then you show Immortals of Avium or whatever for the umpteenth time. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just, there was a lot of fluctuation there. So some games were great, other games left you scratching your head a little bit. It was interesting, right? It made Sonic look good. I'm just saying.
Listen, I saw that. You saw it, Kay, earlier. I was like, where's
Everborn?
Yeah.
A little slander from a man Everborn Saga. It made Sonic look good. No,
it did.
Sonic actually looked good.
Yeah. That's one of the ones I kind of forgot about thinking about things, but
yeah,
I actually did like that.
Let's be clear here, though. Exactly. Let's be clear here. Some of those games were actually pretty great. Right? Some of those games showed off, and I was kind of excited. Some people may clown it, but I saw Prince of Persia and went, the prince is back. I'm excited.
I mean,
I like that too.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Panda. I'm sorry.
You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, Panda. Go ahead.
You're fine. No, I was just gonna say, I agree with you about the Sonic piece. Like, it reminded me of what like Nintendo's been doing with a lot of their old IPs, and just kind of bringing them into the next generation for those guys who never got to enjoy them. And yeah, Prince of Persia, like we're going to talk about that, but that was definitely an improvement over what we saw last time.
Yeah.
Looks like they heard all our feedback and have really.
Hey Kay,
to me,
are you
had like a?
are you
ahead,
sorry to interrupt? Are you closer towards your mic because it seems like you might be a bit
Oh, I
low.
apologize.
Hey, you're
I
right.
will get closer towards my mic. No worries. Yes.
Yeah, let them hear this astute, voice, clearly.
I was just gonna say, to me, it seems like they had a solid hour 45 minutes, and then they turned it into 2 hours, right?
I agree.
Had they kept it an hour and a half, you probably would have gotten some really interesting content there. But because they insisted on filling 2 hours full of content, it was a lot of bloatware, and then every once in a while there was a bit of a spike on the radar, Yeah.
Good
I
point.
do wonder if they did that to fit more of the. I mean, I know it's all kind of advertisements, but to fit more of the proper like commercial break type things in there, because that is how. I mean, that's how he pays for this and the Game Awards. So like, I understand him doing it, but I do wonder if that's also why he stretches it out like he does.
Yeah, I think so. I was a little surprised to see the Samsung commercial run. I think twice. I was like, okay, they must have paid a good amount for advertising rather. But yeah, other than that, I do agree. I thought, by the way, this kind of blew me away, but I thought it was scripted. It does look good though. Like it looks. I'm not gonna be funny. It looks slightly better than Diablo. I'm not gonna lie to you. But Path of Exile too. I thought it looks slightly better, but you could tell this was like, look at this. Like it's clearly not just regular gameplay, right? You can see
this man's gonna have them Diablo heads coming for him. Okay.
Man,
keep talking.
I was sorry to say it, and when I saw it playing, I was like, man, all I want to do is play Diablo again right now.
A game that has been, but in many corners, a game that has dethroned Tears of the Kingdom. It has dethroned what others? And they're all saying this is Game of the Year, and you're saying Path of Exile is better. They're coming for you. I'm just saying. Go ahead.
It's recency bias, y'all. Don't sacrifice me. No, but I was, I never played Path of Exile, but I've seen it, and it wasn't impressive in the first game. This is definitely a leap forward for me, and I am looking forward to July 20th to see more about it. That actually looks really, really good. Visually, I think they did a good job. I think even like the lightning and everything. But again, it was scripted.
Hey, that's a New Zealand studio who makes that game. Yep.
Oh, okay. All right. Got the Kiwis on it. All right.
Yep.
The Kiwis at Keeley. One of the funniest things.
Makes sense.
Absolutely. One of the funniest things, by the way, was our boy Risket. If you all didn't know, he was out in the audience. We saw his big head out there while we were watching. We saw him and Hargeet. We saw Lord Cog and the addict out there. And Colt was out there, but I didn't really see him.
I took a screenshot and I tagged them in it, and people are enjoying the fact that I could see the forensics, but they were actually pretty easy to spot. They're literally
like
in the middle, in the front row. It's
Right.
amazing,
Yeah,
Good for them for getting good seats.
that was pretty cool. But this right here, actually, when I saw it, I'm like, why is Ryu robotic? I'm like, what is going on? And then I was like, oh, Exo Primal. This is one thing I'll give Capcom something with, and Japanese creators in general. They'll kind of cross reference their franchise together like that, and I like that they do that. It's kind of like the synergy they do. Capcom is known for it. They've done it with Dead Rising and so on and so forth. So I did like
Xbox would
that.
learn one lesson, which is from them, which is this. That would be just so amazing.
Exactly.
If Xbox
My
would learn
exact
that
thoughts.
lesson.
That, and I would say maybe the remakes. Do both.
Yeah. There you go.
But I agree with you. That when it made me think, like, man, Microsoft, do that with Halo, bring in Doom guy and all that. Like, it's so much more they could be doing with their franchises, honestly.
They'll just buy Capcom and have it do it for them.
Yeah, there we go. I like how you think. Yeah, so Danny, I'll go back to you to it and let you transition it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna just run through all the announcements in the show, and if we bring up a game that you got something to say about, just jump in, just literally cut me off. The first game, of course, was Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, which was a sort of Fortnite-y art style looking Metroidvania Prince of Persia game. We got a release date for it of January 18th, 2024. It looks like kind of fun. I don't know.
I thought it looked great.
The Prince is back.
Yeah.
The Prince is back, and we're gonna play it on the Abacus. We are. It is what it is.
Is this the same studio that when we saw it previously? Is it the same studio?
I think that's
because this is done by this is one of the
Different
Ubisoft
studio.
original titles.
Yeah,
So
this is a different studio. That
Yeah,
studio
they're
describing
doing
what
the
studio doing.
they're doing the remake of the
Yeah,
original
they're doing the
game,
remake.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because this one looked really cool. and I think I would play it because it's like third party, it's
Mhm.
cross-gen as well, so everyone, it's included for everyone. But yeah, that looked really cool.
Yeah, I was
Yeah, I
actually
mean, it's good to
surprised by it.
see. Yeah, it's good to see Ubisoft putting out games because I feel like it's been a while since I've seen one of theirs actually come out. I don't know that this is going to be like a huge moneymaker for them, but it's definitely better than nothing.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of a return to
Form?
I guess, to return to form, right? Yeah, it kind of brings back the old school original of the franchise. And I just thought artistically, I like the art style of it. I thought it's not like super photorealistic, obviously, but it did look fun. I was actually surprised by how fun it looked. What were you gonna say, Kat?
Oh, I was just gonna say Prince of Persia, a la Ori and the Blind Forest. I'm looking for it. Good.
See,
it looks good, right?
I was more in the Fortnite camp, but you're not
it
wrong.
Does have the Fortnite art style a bit, which kind of some gray beards might be rubbed a little bit,
I don't mind it.
I'm still excited. I want to play. It looks fun. Yeah.
I mean, we should always be happy that new entries for an IP is put in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how many times have we heard like, oh man, it would be great to have an entry in this in this franchise, in this franchise, in this franchise, and you Google the last entry and it's like 20 years ago, and you're like, dude, we're not getting that anytime soon, So I always applaud Ubisoft for making stuff, even if it's like closer to its roots, again, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but we should always be happy that the IPs are continuing to last, right? Because then they can say like, oh yeah, this hit, oh yeah, that didn't hit, like, oh, this is landing, that's not landing. Let's gauge how many people who actually genuinely care about Prince of Persia. Then they kind of be able to do that, right? Whereas like just unlike Atlas or like Capcom, where they kind of put out polls and then they're like, yeah, people want this, so I guess we should make it,
Yeah. Speaking of Atlas, by the way, I'm not sure if you all saw that leak, but I won't speak on it right now. But
oh, the early look, yeah.
Well,
we can talk about that one later if you want to. But to your point, I was afraid, like exactly to your point. I was afraid that what do you call it? Assassin's Creed was going to do to Prince of Persia what Apex has done to Titanfall. So I'm really excited that somebody at Ubi still remembers that they had a Prince of Persia and are using said IP. I'll be there day one. I'm excited that they're remembering this IP. I just hope they put more effort into it. I kind of feel like AC's ascendance kind of hurt Prince of Persia's pedigree within Ubisoft. They stopped kind of paying attention.
Well, I think Prince of Persia is just like an old school like platforming it's a mascot era game, right? Like Sands of Time came out in 2003. And like I don't know, it's just a bygone era, right? And targeting that area, then you probably won't get that much. But I mean, obviously it'll probably turn a profit and it'll be enough and it'll be cool and it'll gauge interest, right? And then but the Sands of Time remake is going to be the one that's really either going to hit home or it's going to hit the road.
Well, it needs to bring it forward through to current gen, so people who never played it in the past can, and for people who were fans of it can go back and re-enjoy what they loved about the original game as much as they can, because it does need a bit of life breathed into it. So I think you're right. It's going to kind of gain interest on the Prince of Persia IP itself. So when they do release the Sands of Time remake, there might be a bigger audience for that, for people who weren't around during the first game and who may play this title and then go, actually, I want to see what the rest of the IP or the rest of that world looks like and such.
Yeah, it's sort of the same mentality as when they release like the collections of something, or when they put like all the Yakuza games on Game Pass right before they put out Like a Dragon or whatever. But speaking of returning old games, after that we got a pretty good look at Mortal Kombat 1, which is honestly, I think for most of us, one of the standouts of the show, even though I'm really not a fighting game guy. It leaves me with some questions about who's a cameo fighter and who's a regular fighter, because he was like, they're completely separate rosters, and then notably showed us a cameo roster that was included Jax and Sonya, and they were not on the regular roster he showed us. So hopefully they are characters who are on both, because if my boy Jax is not playable, I'm going to be upset. But they did show that Kenshin is playable, exciting no one but me, I'm sure, on the planet. So that's cool.
You know, I hadn't played Mortal Kombat in so long, but the gameplay right here actually got me happy a little bit. It got me excited to actually get back into the series. It's been crazy. It's been a crazy long time since I really played the series, but I think visually it looks gorgeous. I like the concept of them going back to the first one. I know Liu Kang is like a god or whatever in the previous ones or whatever somehow, and he went back in time here or to a different universe or whatever the case may be. So I like how they're doing that.
He got Raiden's powers, became the fire god, and then he decided to take matters into his own hands because he really wasn't liking the way like Earth Realm and everybody like handled the way he wanted to handle things. He just wanted to like beat people up and be like, oh yeah, I'll just solve the problem real quickly.
Yeah.
So he took it into his own hands and decided to just remake the entire world.
I see.
In
Sorry,
his new vision. So that this is Mortal Kombat 1 is the reboot. Like this is in world, in world reboot, and we're playing Liu Kang's like
His
Mortal
story.
Kombat.
Yeah,
Like the world he wants.
Yeah, which implies that Liu Kang is the only character that is the same character from the previous games, and everyone else is just like his version of them, which is a little creepy, but that's fine.
Yeah.
Interesting thread of a needle to reboot a franchise. No, quite interesting campaign needle to thread. It's quite cool. I appreciate them for taking that narrative leap.
You know what I like about it is like they're embracing the fun. You know, typically to me, it feels like only our Japanese developers and creators really do that, where they'll jump out and do some crazy stuff. You're like, what? Japanese creators do things that, you know, Western developers just don't do. I've come to find, but something like this I think is risky, but it's also pretty dope. So I agree with you there, Kay. I like the kind of like the striker element, like Bobby Hawk pointed out. It kind of put me in mind of not only King of Fighters rather, but Tekken Tag Team did it. Though
MVC.
Yeah, and then of course I think Marvel versus Capcom did it. Yep. So it did put me in mind of that. I liked how they did it, and I am wondering how it's going to work, Danny, like you pointed out with, you know, seeing how Kano and everybody was kind of jumping in, to Sonya back in their old school, you know, Mortal Kombat 1 fits and such, and Jackson is Mortal Kombat. All of them. So that was kind of cool right there. I just wonder how they're going to handle that, but it really did. It's been a long time since I actually really played that. Yeah, see, BZ McNasty is the same as me. I hadn't played the games in a long time, but
me neither.
It's actually kind of.
I don't even remember the last one I played.
I can't.
Oh dang!
It was probably in the 90s.
Oh, I'm an avid fan, so I buy them every time every 3 years that they come out or whatever.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I buy I only play the campaign too. I love their campaigns. I'm a huge MK fan. I love the campaigns. It's great.
Nice. I'm going to get this one, I believe.
For sure.
One that's on the screen right now, but I don't know if you would announce it, Danny, because it's kind of like.
I just got everything, and all the ones that we don't have anything to say about, we can just blow right past.
Okay. Well, I'll mention it since it's on the screen now, but you know, we've seen this one before. One of the things I'll say about the showcase, and it's kind of the same issue I had with Sony's, is some of the things that brought it down for me, if I was going to rate it, was the fact that some of the games they showed we saw already. Witchfire we've seen already, but it was good to see new gameplay of it again.
Yeah.
Of course it's an Unreal, so you know I'm going to stand over it.
Oh,
you already know.
I see what
Here we go.
I see.
It looks gorgeous though, but I'm excited to see that actually come out. I think that's going to be good.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I laughed hard when this one popped up. I was like, oh, Smilegate, huh?
Yeah.
It's your turn, Sony.
I'm just kind of disappointed with the showcase didn't like have as many dates. Not dates. Oh my god, like announcements around like how this was recorded, what it was recorded on, and such. I would have been nice to know like if we were some we did, but it reminded me a bit like Sony's showcase where you had like one or two mention that this was on a PC or this was on that, but it wasn't very clear, and I feel like we need that transparency and clarity for every game show moving forward, regardless of the platform. It just needs to be a staple there, so you actually feel like you're not misleading any of the consumers in any way. Yeah, just disappointing.
So after Mortal Kombat, we went into Umbra's new game of the year, Path of Exile 2, which he said is 100% for sure way better than Diablo 4. And everyone who likes Diablo can hit him up on his DMs.
Holy crap!
We're just gonna PvP Umbra, right, on Diablo 4. You and me
Sounds
PvP.
about right. Sounds about right.
Yeah.
I will say it does look pretty good. My only complaint from the trailer was it very dark, very dark. Could not see much of what was happening, and I think it was because they were like, "Look, we have cool lighting tech," and it's like, "That's great." Can't see the enemies.
I thought it was definitely scripted, but it definitely looked good. Like visually, you could tell that like the engine they're using and such, it looks solid. And animation wise, I just thought it was scripted. You could tell it was scripted in my opinion.
Well, I do like. Sorry, go.
No, you're good.
No, you're good.
I was just gonna say, unlike Diablo 4, it's just like Path of Exile anyway, in the sense of they've pulled back, so that top-down side of it, I feel like it's high enough. Like Diablo 4, yes, it's nice, but I feel like I'm too close and I can't adjust my field of view. So I do like how this one is a lot further back, in that respect, which is similar to some of the other Diablo games that you had. But Diablo 4, that's the only thing that is kind of. So I do like that it's pulled further back on your top-down view. Yeah, so you're not so close up on the action.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing more of that. This game on screen here is actually one of the ones I was actually excited to see. Remnant 2. If you all haven't played it, Remnant from the Ashes. This looks so dramatically better to me than the first game. I was like,
the first one multiplayer as well, like co-op?
Yeah, it's a co-op game.
It was. But am I the only one that, by the way, that saw a lot of Matrix kind of references in there? With the robot shooting the beams at them and like the robots plucking like these people, whatever, from the, battery looking thing. That's what it was.
Yeah, no, there was definitely some of that.
Yeah. It looks bigger and better than the original for sure. I don't know. The original just did not grip me. I played it. I played quite a bit of it actually. I played like 6 or 7 runs through it. I tried to get the plat with my younger brother, and I think about a third run in, I just really wasn't having fun with it.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that Remnant 2 changes like the way we navigate the world, right? I know that they're still like procedural dungeons and procedural levels, and I'm sure the story will be fine or whatever, I'm just really hoping that it'll be easier to navigate and understand like where we have to be, what we have to do, and who we have to fight. Because I spent a lot of time in From the Ashes just bumbling about, just being really, really lost, just because it wasn't very clear what I should be doing. And then of course like the procedural generated levels made everything feel like I've been there before, which is not really a great thing. And as a level designer myself, I feel like if it's not clear to players, I think that it's going to be much less engaging for the audiences. So I'm hoping that Remnant 2 fixes some of the navigation issues with the world.
When it comes to that, I agree with you. I played with Pete. I played with, I think, Panda. I think you played too. It was. Oh, you know what?
No, I did not.
It was Doom Cutie. It was Doom Cutie.
Yep.
And we played, and then I think it was someone else after that. But I do agree. Had I not played with them and they knew where to go, I would have been like, what? What the hell do we do? So I do get you there. Also, the procedurally generated stuff, I don't typically care for it in games. It feels some games do it well. Some games do it better than others, I guess. So I don't hate it, but I just don't care for it in some of these games because, like you said, they get the symptom of what you just pointed out. Sonic Superstars, by the way, they just showed. I had to shout out Kay Asante immediately when I saw it. I was like, Kay Asante, where's Everborn at? Tell him now.
We'll get to that, but we're getting pretty far out of order at this point.
Let me do the Remnant thing. Let me comment on the Remnant thing because I'm kind of excited for that game. I too didn't really connect with the first one, but technically the first one was the second or the third, depending on.
I think it was the second one because Chronos is the prequel.
Yeah, I played the heck out of Chronos, which is a VR game, which is where this all began.
I didn't know that.
If it's a VR, it doesn't count. That's not a real game.
Of course, it doesn't count.
Well, they relaunched it.
And
I think 2019.
well.
Yeah, I think that's 2019.
Yeah, But I guess the reason why I want to comment on it is because based on what I've been hearing, and I think even IGN did a report on it, Remnant 2, they seem to have learned a lot from Remnant 1, and it seemed to have caught an audience. So supposedly this is like what we're seeing here, even though for those who care, the Remnant audience who cares, this should be, when you play this, exponentially like better than what you've experienced. Supposedly they got like twice the budget. They're far more ambitious with it, and the reviews, the previews that have come out supposedly are like mouth agape how great it is compared to what it used to be. So I'm just excited by all the stuff I've heard about it, more than what they showed. It showed like, you know, average. It showed like Remnant, but supposedly it's really good now compared to if you liked it before.
Yeah, it looks like it. It did to me. Yeah, I'm excited for it. You know, Pete, Jedi Knight Peter, he was really excited. It's one of his favorite games. I know Bushido, as well as I am to say his name, he's excited for it. No, it looks really good. It looks much better than the first game to me. Just everything, visually, combat-wise, all of that. I like the little six shooter style they gave the guy. I liked all of that. It looks really dope.
Yeah, it's supposed to be super ambitious now in comparison to its first iteration.
Yeah, it looked like it.
Did it have a release date or a release window? I can't remember.
Oh yeah, July 25th.
That's right. Yep, I did write it down, but I had to go back through my
It's
notes.
like
Soon. Yes.
That's next month. That's tomorrow.
How many games are launching in September though from the showcase? Right, like that's a lot to launch.
I'd have to do a good deal of research on that one.
It was few. We had one in
Yeah.
particular that was rumored for September that we saw was
Well,
not.
you got,
That was not.
Yeah.
yeah, you got the Mortal Kombat. You had something else. Oh, what was that? That releases after it. Because Mortal Kombat is the September 19th. You've even got Starfield in that same month.
Party Animals was September.
Oh yeah, Party
yes,
Animals.
Party Animals was September.
By the
Something
way, I
else.
was excited to see that. I was like, yes, finally. When I saw it pop up, I knew they were about to announce the launch date. Me and the group, we had been excited for that for a long time, Party Animals. And yes, I think it's still on Game Pass BZ. That right there, it seems so odd that it's taken so long for that to get brought over. Because it's not like a super technical game or anything. It's like, okay, this shouldn't have taken so much, but it's finally coming. So that I was actually, all of us watching it were really excited because we know we're going to have a good time in the party playing it.
Games like that tend to be very netcode heavy. Want to make sure everyone can jump in and play and have a good time. So that's probably
I see.
Where
You
the
guys
Well,
might
it's just
have to
Gang Beasts 2.
decide
really,
what you play on the
Basically.
19th. Because Liza P is releasing the same day as Mortal Kombat 1.
Oh
Well,
wow!
I know which one I'll be playing, and it's Liza P. But anyway, to get back on track, so we were at Path of Exile. So after that was the Exoprimal Cross Street Fighter thing, which we already kind of talked about. Then we got Nicolas Cage in Dead by Daylight, which we already knew about for like a month. So I don't know. I guess it was literally just Jeff Keighley wanted to talk to Nick Cage on stage, which like fair, I guess.
I had no
Pretty
idea
cool, yeah.
I had no idea about him being in that game. I thought it was hilarious when it popped up. Actually, all of us in the party, none of us knew. And
I'm pretty sure we
seeing
talked
him-
about it here.
Did we? I don't remember talking about it, but I know it was hilarious seeing him walk out there, you know, doing his look like his little Elvis in his late years impression or something. But that was funny. That was cool. I imagine like Risky and all the guys in the audience. I'm pretty sure they were pretty excited to see him walk out there like that. But that was pretty.
None of
cool.
them could stand up afterwards.
Yeah.
I know Risky couldn't. Let's see. Then immediately after that, we went into what I have written in my notes as the Witcher Cast Zoom call, because they weren't really there. It looked like they were just on some other press junket, and they were like, "Hey, Henry, can you pass us into the Game Awards real fast? We're just gonna say like a sentence, and then have Yennefer mess one up, and then we'll just play a trailer. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it."
Yeah. I mean, it's the final season with him, right? Where he'll be the Witcher.
Yeah.
Yep.
Season 3 is the last one. It's replaced by Liam Hemsworth, who will probably do a worse job, but that's fine because I won't be watching.
Yeah. Another game here in Unreal Engine 5, by the way. But I'll let you go ahead with your list here.
Yeah. After that, we had Witchfire, which we already kind of talked about, but looks pretty exciting.
That looked
Crossfire's
fire.
too.
Sorry.
Witchfire.
It's really good.
Oh yeah, I guess. I don't know. It didn't blow my skirt up. I'll tell you that.
I mean,
for
we've
free.
seen it before, though, right? This is
We
the
have.
second
I think we've
showing?
seen pretty much everything
Third
here
showing?
before.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I said some of the issues it had here is that some of the games they showed we had seen. but it did look
Groundhog
good to see
Day?
it again. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, deja vu a little bit. Yep. But what else did we have?
Right after that, we went into Crossfire Sierra Squad, the VR game that no one asked for, from the game that nobody liked. So there you go. There you go, VR guys.
Now you all suffer.
That actually
It's
gave
your
a
turn.
release window though, like August. Like, why wasn't that on PlayStation Showcase?
Don't know.
Right?
Because
One of the
yes,
many.
it is a third-party dev developing it for that, but it's like a second-party like IP in that sense, I guess, or however you want to say it, because like it's coming to PSVR too. But why wouldn't you show that date on your own showcase, considering it's not coming to the other headsets like Meta or whatever? Yeah, it's not going anywhere else.
It's confusing.
Technically, it is coming to PC, so it is going to.
But it's
Meta as
coming?
well through PC. Yeah,
What?
it will be on PC.
It's just confusing in general, just for them. That is just one of the confusing things here. We'll get to it later, but it's just one of the confusing things that they had here for whatever reason. It just didn't really add up. But yeah, what else, Danny? What else? Where we going?
Then we had Sonic Superstars, which I think is another one that probably a lot of people are going to be really excited for. I'm not typically a Sonic guy, but this one looked significantly better than Sonics I've seen for a while, in my opinion. Like this one actually makes me kind of interested in playing it, and I haven't felt that way about a Sonic maybe ever. So that's definitely a positive.
I was like Everborn back in the day, believe it or not, Kay. I used to love Sonic the Hedgehog. I still got love for Sonic, but I used to love Sonic. I'm talking about to the point where I would make comics for him, me and my friends in school. If you all didn't know, I can draw. So I used to draw and make comics and comic books and put them together with it. I used to love that character. And so seeing it kind of return, in this nice, animation style and everything like that, and engine or whatever they're using, I thought it was pretty creative. I thought it looked really good. And I like the fact that you can have up to 4 players and such playing in it. I think that's pretty cool. I like that. So, and I think Sonic, unfortunately, hasn't had the best of games in, recent years, but this seems to be a way to go for it. It's the lower budget as far as things go. It's not on the Mario level, but I thought it looked really fun. And I think that's what they should aim for always. Just aim for fun. And it looked like that to me.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely that sort of situation where like they just kind of shot their shot with Frontier, and it seemed to have mostly worked out for them. People didn't really talk about it a lot, but it seemed to be at least somewhat successful. But I think this is more what I hear people talking about. What they want from Sonic is more of this 2D style stuff. So I think it'll be good for them for sure.
Yeah.
But then we went into a Honkai Star Rail trailer where they announced a new character that I don't even think they said the name of, and then said also it's coming to PlayStation in Q4 of 2023. So that's really exciting for all of you Honkai fans.
The name of that game is always hilarious to me.
Yeah.
Look at these Honkai gamers. Anyway, yeah, that right
Feel
there.
a little bit like
Yeah,
brother, why do you say it like that? Yeah. What do you mean by that?
Right. Yeah, I always found it funny. But then if you saw that, and by the way, that, and it was another game, I think it was King Arthur, and I'm like, okay, what could this be? And it was like, iOS, mobile, and
game.
Android. I'm like, get this out of here.
Yeah.
It's like, who showcases this?
Right. Why I get it, but then I was like, no. So I don't know. This
We should have all been suffering from narcolepsy and like just fallen asleep at certain bits. It would have been fine.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have missed much.
Yeah.
Oh, no, Palpy,
I'm
please.
telling you,
Palpatine. You giant
Oh,
guy.
Palpy, please.
I'm telling you guys, there's a solid hour in there. They just got to cut out all the other extra.
I agree.
100%.
I agree. Cut out the fluff and the commercials.
Yeah.
The mobile games.
and
It's
the
not going to
mobile
happen
games.
though. It's
Yeah.
how it's that fluff and that keeps his pockets lined so he can do this year and year and year
That's
again.
true.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
That's true.
I mean,
Hey,
yeah,
at least
I mean,
it's shorter than a Xbox like Twitch stream.
Oh yeah.
There's like 3-4
hour indie one. Yeah, that was a
Yeah.
mistake.
I mean, I can't hate on Jeff's hustle. He's got to pay the bills, keep the lights on. It's just that
Exactly.
just be a little bit more interesting next time, I guess. I don't know.
I think that is part of it. Is he also? I don't want to just bash on him because he seems like a nice enough guy, but he just he doesn't have the stage presence to hold my attention for 2 hours. He just doesn't. I think he should bring somebody else in to do the talking.
Just
Yeah.
look at his
want to do that, but
look at his hands and how he holds that mic. I can't, like, when he's on screen, it looks odd. His hands look, I don't know, it just takes me out of the whole situation. And I'm like, could you not?
I can't
could you
say
just
that
have
I
like
examined it that
something on
closely,
your shirt
but-
so you're not holding like every
Yeah.
showcase I'm seeing that. Like even the Game Award last year, I was like, Jeff, could you just have a mic on your shirt, please? But he
we
needs
do.
to do
Clawing
something
the
with his
mic?
hands,
Is he-
right?
is
We
he
get a lab
clawing it or
mic for-
something?
Which I really respect Jeff for doing all of this, like, basically
I do,
by himself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's, when he,
Carved
like
out
when
a
he
market for
first,
a day.
when he first started the video game awards, the Spike VGAs or whatever, like he was the one that did that, and he was like, "Yo, let's try to do this. Let's make a game. Let's make a show, for gamers." And then when E3 was basically unannounced, he was like, "Oh man, I guess I got to step in and do something." And then he created the Summer Games Fest, which the first one was, whatever. It was hit or miss. Yeah, I think it was mostly a miss for me, but it was still a very like, what's it? A very valiant effort, and I respect Jeff for it. This is the third, fourth year we're doing this. Like, come on, Jeff,
No, I think it's
you're
been
not.
longer than that.
You're not new to the business, right? He's been doing VGAs in this for like over a decade now. Like, you should be able to kind of iron out some of the things that people have been griping about for the last decade.
Yeah, I agree there too. Just want to say, guys, anybody that's here joining us right now, I guess it's a good problem to have, but we have so many quality people in the community running shows literally at the same time as us now. That it is tough. So anybody that's actually here supporting us, we got to give you love, and we thank you very much for being here with us. But if you all could hit the like button, we appreciate that as well. G maybe said he only emotes from the nose down.
Oh no.
He is kind of stiff up there, but it's just funny. But I do agree with you, Deli, that I agree. I appreciate his hustle and everything to do what he did. It takes a lot of moxie, as they would say, right? So I get you there.
It's definitely better than nothing, which is what we would have had this year instead. So I'll take it.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's definitely
yeah.
better than what PlayStation brought to the table. So
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
But after
benefits
Honkai,
gaming
we
as
went
a whole.
into a really good-looking Liza P trailer. Like
Yes.
really exciting. Got a release date for it. I don't know if we already had it, of September 19th of this year. And that demo's out right now, baby. The only reason I'm not playing is because I'm right here.
Yeah, it looks really good.
It looks phenomenal. I will say the first shot of the trailer where he's like pushing open the door, that game has never looked more Bloodborne in its life. And I think they did it on purpose. But the music choice that they made, the aesthetic of like all the enemies and just the world and the costumes and everything that we saw in that trailer, I'm in. Like that's gonna be a big game for me this year. I can already feel it. But yeah, do you guys have any thoughts on that one?
Oh, I think it's going to be a big win for Xbox when this thing comes to Game Pass. I suspect that much like most Soulsborne games, some will take it. It'll get a big pop at the beginning, and then of course people will realize how difficult it is, and many of them will bow out. But it's still going to be really good. It looks aesthetically really attractive, so I'm sure it'll have its moment in the sun when it comes out. So looking forward to seeing if it really is as difficult as it looks like.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is one of those September release dates, and I think like Panda was saying, there's a handful of them at this point, so it might be in kind of tricky water. But also I don't necessarily know that there's any other game in that same genre coming out, so they might be okay as far as that's concerned.
I think it's capitalizing on what Bloodborne isn't.
Yeah.
So I think that is definitely have enough pull, and it's definitely going to have enough what's it called? Mainstream marketing. I mean, it is going to be on Game Pass, and it is on the Summer Games Fest, and it was on Tokyo Game Show last year, which is where I found out about it. So I think it's had a lot. It's had a big marketing push for like worldwide and mainstream release. So I definitely think that they know that at least the developers and the marketing team definitely know what kind of void that they're filling, and just doing that in on itself is worth the time and effort that they put into it. Because there's always going to be people, I'm sure Asante is like this too, there's always going to be people who are like, well, what if I want to play a game like Bloodborne, and then if this one's always at the top of the list, then he's going to be like, yeah, I'm gonna check it out. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it just looks visually gorgeous. Like, that's the one thing I think that has always held back Souls games for me. They haven't typically looked the greatest. Elden Ring to me was a bit of an exception. I thought that it looked kind of great, especially like in the cityscapes and stuff like that. But I took some crazy good images, by the way. But this right here looks exceptionally good, and so I hope it's really solid. And it's coming to Game Pass too, so that's a W.
It's easy to get into. I am slightly concerned because I don't know the team, so I don't know what to expect. But everything that I have seen looks good, so I'm excited for it. But another game that I'm maybe even more excited for now is honestly one of the only games that I didn't already know about going into this show, which is Sandland by Akira Toriyama, based on a manga from the year 2000 of the same name. You can, boy howdy, can you tell that's a Toriyama ass manga the second you see it. That man draws like 3 faces, and they are all there. They are all there.
But I knew it was Akira Toriyama as soon as Jeff started describing it. I'm like, oh, it's Toriyama.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan. Like, I don't know Sandland specifically. I haven't read that. But I started seeing it, and I was like, are they doing a Blue Dragon 2? What's happening? No, they couldn't be. That would be at the Xbox show, right? Right. but no, this looks great to me. I'm genuinely, this is one of the only big surprises of the show for me. But I'm down. I don't think we got a release date for it. If so, I didn't write it down at least. But boy,
the first few seconds of that frame made me feel like, oh my god, are we retelling the Dragon Ball Z story again?
Yeah.
For the umpteenth time?
I thought that too.
Dragon Ball,
I thought so. I thought they were retelling it again for the umpteenth time with a different game. But no, you're absolutely right. It does look interesting. It looks different, Yes, the art style is the art style. Like Toriyama has a signature. He has a signature, People like it now, so it's all good.
Yeah, you're gonna see it in Dragon Quest. You're gonna see it in everything because it's just how he draws. But I agree with you. The first thing I thought, at first I knew it was Toriyama when he was saying it, and I thought, don't let this be Dragon Ball, please.
Don't let this be Dragon Ball.
And then it was like Unreal Engine, and I'm like, oh, okay, you got my excitement up. So let's see what you're doing. No, it looks really good. I liked. It seemed like you got a lot of different gameplay elements in there that you'll be doing, getting mechs and things of that nature, driving around in tanks. It looks like it could be fun. I'm actually excited for it too. I agree. I haven't read that manga though. I have to check that out one day.
No, it makes me want to go and read it, but at the same time, it's like, but is it going to be anything like the game? Should I just wait? Should I simply not?
I think I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait for the game. I mean, I just like you guys. I'm a huge fan of Akira Toriyama.
Yeah.
So as soon as they were like, yeah, Toriyama's on board for it, I was like, all right, but like that's it. That's all I needed to know. You know what I
mean? Yeah. So hey, we got a question. BZ McNasty said, is the Xbox showcase considered part of Summer Game Fest? Jeff seems to keep labeling everything under SGF. What are you guys' thoughts about that?
I think it is.
Yeah, so I'm not sure exactly how it is because like they're obviously not like together, like they're not doing it on the same stage or anything, and it's not how E3 was, where it was like one big thing and we're all working together. It seems like the situation is that Jeff he puts on his own show obviously, but then he's like, hey, all these other ones that are going around at the same time will sort of share advertising with each other. So like I'll say like, hey, there's going to be more on this show, or like, they put it on their website where it's the whole calendar. So I think it's more of like a collaboration than like actually technically part of the same thing. But it seems to be working out for everybody. I mean, we saw like 3 things at this showcase where it was like, you'll see more of that at the Ubisoft thing, you'll see more of that at the Capcom thing. So
and it definitely works. I'm sorry, go ahead, Panda.
I was just gonna say, like, it's weird because like PlayStation Showcase, it's its own little out on the side, sitting outside in the cold sort of moment where everyone else is kind of like in the same week or within that same period, or even in the same month specifically, because they mentioned like there was another showcase, a Steam showcase at the end of June. So they're like, everyone seems to be, it's just that time of year. That's what it is. Like you said, Umbra, about it's our Christmas type of environment. But yeah, I think it's that collaboration piece that you're talking about. But yeah, I wouldn't say Xbox's show falls under the umbrella of Summer of Game Fest. It just happens to like coincide around the same time, and it's easy enough to kind of put those two together as like a connection. But yeah, I don't think they're related at all.
I think the closest partnership between the two is I'm pretty sure that Jeff like co-streams it on his own channels and stuff. So I think that's I think that's literally the closest it is.
He's on like a loose association kind of thing or something, huh?
Yeah, it's like we're friends and we're gonna hang out together.
They have a light marketing partnership going on, you know, and it works for both of them, right? Because then on Xbox, Xbox can know, rest assured that you'll hear on Summer Game Fest that they have a show coming, which is what they want. Exactly. And of course, Keighley can go say all this is Summer Game Fest, which realistically is not.
He loves.
You know. Well, they showed off he showed off at the showcase the 75th anniversary like Porsche edition Xbox Series X's
horrible, by the
as
way.
well. They look
I think
like
that was the
all
only
the different
thing
colors.
Xbox showed, though, right?
Yeah,
Specifically,
that and the Game Pass,
right. There was
I'm hoping that we don't see this on Xbox's showcase, and I'm happy that it's on Summer of Game Fest.
Yeah.
Put there, do not put it on your bloody showcase.
Right. I mean, we'll get to what PlayStation put on the show, but when you compare what PlayStation put on the chose to remove from their own show to put here versus what Xbox did, it's like I don't know. Somebody might have made a wrong choice here.
So not to spill some tea, but there's been rumor and speculation that Xbox might not be giving Keighley the keys to the business as they used to, and based on what we're seeing here, it looks like they're right. They kind of gave him short shrift and said, "Here, you can have this," and kept it moving.
I wouldn't be surprised by that case, seeing how he spoiled some things.
I don't think they want
to spoiled some things for them in the past. So,
but I don't think they want them to take away the hype of the Xbox showcase that they're building themselves. And I feel like they really want to make it about Xbox and not have that association with Jeff Keighley as much as possible, to make it a standalone piece that everyone can just be talking about it, and then talk about Jeff Keighley's things separately.
Which I think is kind of odd, because you always see the Xbox Game Showcase lumped in with the Summer Games Festival schedule. So like it doesn't matter, like you can go to any news outlet and they lump the entire week together. But like I think Summer Games Fest is just like it's just like there's the opening showcase, which is obviously Jeff's show, and then I think they do Day of the Devs, and I think they do the Accessibility Summer.
Right, yeah, because isn't Day of the Devs like a Double Fine thing?
Yeah,
I think so.
Day of the Devs and Accessibility have all happened before Summer Game Fest. It's just that Keighley has now allowed them to share that air and presumably get more of an audience, because right after the Summer Game Fest, there's still a lot of people still watching, and then it kicks right into Day of the Devs. Before, Day of the Devs used to be like I think I saw it once on the Double Fine channel or someplace else, and it wouldn't get the audience it would deserve.
That it gets it normally gets,
Right, yeah. So in this instance, I think that's a good partnership. It helps people, stick around for the cool indie stuff that you may not have done so, had they not associated. This is a good association, I think. Some of the others are kind of seeming a little wishy-washy, or maybe
like a reach.
Yeah, because like lip service.
Because
pretty good.
You have the Ubisoft Forward and the Capcom Showcase, and as a former Ubisoft employee, like I know for a fact that like when we went to E3, like we didn't have it wasn't like a partnership with everybody else. Like we weren't like, hey guys, go check out more at the Ubisoft booth. It was more like this is our show, this is our stuff, this is what we're showing on our time. So if you want to hang out and find out more about it, show up on, I don't know, show up on Monday next week or whatever, and it was less of like a, thanks Jeff, appreciated you having us here, or like, hey, whatever, blah, 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 this and that, like whoever is currently running the show, right? Like, oh, thanks Xbox, appreciate it. So I don't know.
What do you think of this real quick?
Yeah.
Do you think that Jeff plays a little bit of lip service in those instances? Because I used to also, full disclosure, I used to also have a buddy that worked at Ubisoft for quite some time. Is there a thought to the idea that they play lip service, Jeff does, because he does want another Ubisoft game on his stage. So even if they don't necessarily play ball with him, he will still play that ball of, hey, check out Ubisoft's show, it's coming, even though they may not necessarily play ball with him. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
I can see that. And Jeff,
That's his whole hustle.
Yeah, if you see him on past the things, the way he talk about things, the way he spoiled things for Xbox, he kind of has that way about him where he'll kind of say something in a way to bring the spotlight onto him, and that fits into what you're talking about right there to me 100%. So I can see that.
Yeah. I think he may be trying to get, which is, hey, there's no knocking of that hustle. He may be trying to get a great Ubisoft game next time. So even if they're not necessarily paying him to pimp it, he'll pimp it if he can. Why not? It is what it is.
I mean, I think that he is, the more attention that he brings to himself is more viewership for Summer Games Fest, right? So if he was like, blah blah blah, if he's showing off the next Xbox at Summer Games Fest, it doesn't matter if Microsoft is like, yeah, sure, whatever, buddy, here's a 75 Porsche. Like, to them it's not anything important, but to Jeff it's like, this is viewership here because nobody else is showing it, right? So like, if there's only one place to see new content, it doesn't matter. To him, that's viewership, and to him, that's ad revenue. To him, that's statistics, right? Because at the end of the day, he's a showrunner. He's a business, right? It's not a soup kitchen. So if it's 10 million viewers or 10.5 million viewers, that 500,000 is the difference between booking a Samsung ad for $20 million or the difference between running McDonald's ads 3 times in an hour. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or for instance, or DoorDash with Taco Bell. Yeah.
Or like Grubhub with PUBG. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
I do think specifically with Ubisoft, there's also the side of it where I think that Jeff might get more viewership than a Ubisoft show typically. Like PlayStation and Xbox, I don't think that they need to do anything like that with Jeff necessarily, because people are going to show up for the Xbox show, people are going to show up for the PlayStation show. I think somebody like a Capcom or somebody like a Ubisoft, if they're wanting to put on their own show, I think it does actually sort of benefit them to have Jeff tell his audience, hey, by the way, there's also going to be this Ubisoft show that you should show up for. So I think it makes sense. Like, I think it makes sense for everyone to just sort of play along, even though there is definitely an aspect of it where it does sort of feel like Jeff is going like, yeah, the Xbox show is also part of my show and the Ubisoft show is also, and like that's obviously not the case. And I think that that's sort of a perception that he encourages, because I think he wants everyone to think that like, oh my god, look at all this great stuff that Jeff put together.
Yeah, definitely.
When really it's just like, we're all friends, and we're hanging out.
Well, you got to think, the more he says it's part of Summer Games Fest, the more people are going to be like, oh, Summer Games Fest, okay, I know that name, and then they tune into the showcase. Again, it's a numbers game, and Jeff's he's good at what he does, right? Because he's been doing it for over a decade. So I can't knock the hustle, and I appreciate him for doing what he has to do to keep the lights on. It is what it is.
It would be hilarious though if Microsoft came out, hey, we're running our own show, not a part of anything else, and just came out and just burst
in July. They're like in the middle of July. They're like, actually, guys, the next Starfield Direct will be in July. The next Xbox Showcase will be in July.
Get our logo off your website.
Independently run. But so hey, what was that?
Yeah.
So MVNGO, I don't believe I've seen you in the chat before. You said Summer Game Fest will be better than the Xbox show. I doubt that.
I think he's trolling, but yeah.
Yeah, I doubt that.
Definitely trolling, yeah.
If it is, then whoa, it's Xbox.
I mean, they show Fable, damn, we're done.
Yeah. Fable alone will get me like a 7 right there already.
Yeah.
So
basically.
Let's move ahead though. What else did we see?
Absolutely. So after that, we got an Annapurna sizzle reel that didn't really say anything in particular, but we did see like Stray and something Suitors.
Oh yeah, they're what's it called?
Like those are
quite a few games actually in there.
It's gonna be on their show.
Yeah,
on
there were a bunch of games in there
where
where it was exactly what we're talking about, where it was just Annapurna was like, hey, we probably won't get a lot of people showing up unless we make sure that a large audience knows that we're going to exist. So
I'm excited. I'm excited for that. Yeah. So I will.
Yeah, and they did tease sort of a bigger game at the end of it. So I'm curious to see what that is.
He even did it in such a cheesy way. I wonder what game that was at the end.
Yeah,
no, but I love
absolutely
Annapurna.
No riz on that, man.
Yeah, infinite no riz. No, that I'm actually like you, Deli. I love Annapurna much as like Devolver. They make
top tier indies.
Absolutely.
Yeah, huge, great publishing company. I mean, they're definitely always looking to push the next boundary or just even promote stuff that's out of people's wheelhouse, and that's important to have in the industry. It's a sign of a healthy industry.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Anytime
After
to
that,
push indie games.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. Go ahead.
I was just saying any way to push indie games because Xbox has the IDE, oh,
Idea
the
Xbox.
indie,
Yeah.
IDE Xbox, and then these guys have released quite a lot of titles that we probably may not have experienced as a result. So it's really important that they get the
true.
spotlight.
And indie games also range in production value and quality too. Like
Mhm.
you know, Hellblade is an indie game. You know,
Yep.
as long people don't want to admit that, you know, or Kojima games are technically indie games, like they're independent games devoid of other publishers,
What
right?
people call it triple I, yeah.
Triple I, yeah,
Triple I.
you know,
Yep.
the triple I,
Of course.
the quadruple I, right, boys?
Yeah.
Quadruple I.
Right.
That's Perfect Dark, baby.
Baby. But I mean, we'll see that now difference of Hellblade 2. I wonder just how different it'll be now that they are AAA and behind Xbox.
I have high expectations.
Me too.
Oh yes.
But after that, we got Throne and Liberty. It's an MMO coming out of NCSoft. It's looks wild, but it's on all platforms. So I don't know. It's one of those games where I look at it and I'm like, that looks like a lot of fun, but I know in my heart I will never touch it.
I'm with you there. It looked really dope to me. I don't like
That's
the part
the
of it being
Amazon
MMO.
publishing one, right?
It is, yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
It looks really good. It looks like it could be fun. Just doesn't look like I'll actually ever play it. So, but that's unfortunate. But it does look good, you know, for those who care. I don't know about the MMO aspect. I think for me, when I hear that, I kind of like lose interest typically. I don't know what it is, but MMO, I'm like, okay, nope.
Time sink, right? Those games, you
Yep.
really have to
There's
commit
so
to
much-
them.
I have so little time.
Is it Nexon?
Was that
Do it.
Nexon?
I think it's published by Nexon, correct?
You might be right. I know that was
I
Amazon
know it was
publishing it.
NCSoft.
No, I think that's Warhaven is the one done
Yeah.
by.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Haven is Nixon, yeah.
That's
yeah,
right.
Nexon.
That's right.
Okay.
And Warhaven is another one of those. It's next on the list, so we can just talk about it now.
Yep.
But that's the PvP sort of medieval knight-looking game. It kind of
Yeah,
it looks like the multiplayer modes of like, God, what's that game? For Honor, I think.
It does look kind of.
It sort of reminded me of that, but also maybe like sort of MOBA vibes. I'm unclear on it, but
Looked
it's
more
another one of those games
fantastical.
where I'm like,
Okay, I don't have a very positive track record with Nexon, so my expectations are very, very low. And I'm
not
sure
familiar with them. What else did they do?
I'm gonna try to say this as positively sounding as possible. But they like to invest in games that are live service or MMO related games to make the quickest buck possible. So I'm sure Asante has worked with them in the past. I've worked with them in the past, actually, and I don't quite agree with their business practices, and I don't quite agree with the way they fund studios and look for things. So yeah, there are a bunch of games like Hyper Universe was a game that they funded that I worked with like years ago, and I just remember that having a huge funding push for a couple months, and then it just immediately evaporated. Like once they got their profit, they just kind of left. So I don't have the biggest faith in Nexon and their business practices, so I'm not gonna be too hyped about that.
I think our audience probably, and this is even a stretch, but the probably the closest game you probably might remember from them currently is Kart Rider. It's like it's almost it's a gas game, cute little Kart Rider game that's been out for a long time. There's a lot of DLC for it.
Yeah,
that is a very, very big Nexon game.
Yeah.
That, as you know, exactly, you know, as Deli points out, they are a publisher that loves to milk their customers for all that they're worth. Yeah, it is what it is.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm sorry to jump ahead, but
no, you're good.
The Space Marine 2 looks so damn gorgeous.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah, Space Marine 2 looks really good with co-op too. Look at that, guys.
Yes, 3-player. Listen, if this is looking that good, imagine how good Gears of War 6 is going to look, everybody.
That's what I'm saying. Although I will say, okay, so we can just jump to this one because it's
yeah.
But man, my notes on here, it says Warhammer Space Marine 2, and then I wrote ooh wee, and that's all I put. It looks so good.
So damn good.
They're putting in that World War Z tech to get those Tyranids coming in hot. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Winter 2023 can't come fast enough.
It looks spectacular in every way possible. Everything about it looks so damn good. That's Unreal Engine 5, right, Kay?
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
so?
I'm sure it is. Yeah. I'm sure it is.
Hey, do you have a problem with it?
Yeah, why you so shy? Yeah, why you so shy
No,
about
no,
it?
no. Let me be clear here. Let me be clear here. Okay, so me and Umbra have this wonderful little ribbing thing going on back and forth. Umbra seems to think that since Unreal Engine is a great engine, and it is, and a lot of people use it, and a lot of games come out really well, and they do. So more and more should be used, and I agree with you by and large. But I'm of the school of thought that competition breeds better games. You know, I like Crytek, CryEngine. I like all these other engines that do very interesting things in the same world that we live in. So, you know, while I agree by and large with Umbra's assessment that Unreal is a great engine, I kind of worry if we're pushing in a world where we're giving Epic all the power to all of the games by making theirs the only engine that matters.
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all.
He and I go back and forth a little bit.
Oh, no, not at all. Game engines are just tools, right? It matters about the talent behind them, and that's what's more important, right?
Yeah.
Just because the skill, not the skill, the floor, right? The floor, the door of entry is low, doesn't necessarily mean that everybody's going to produce the same kind of content, right? Like if all 5 of us were working in a room together and we had to make, like we were in a game jam and we had to create a game in 3 days, I'm sure that all 5 of us would pick either different engines, or if we all worked on Unreal Engine, that we would create different things at varying skill levels. But I think personally, I think that Unreal Engine 5 is good for the industry because it allows for more people to be able to create content. I know a lot of.
I agree. I believe that an engine that's ubiquitous, that allows for more entry, is great in the long run. I just want more engines to also be there providing competition while Unreal Engine shines. So I don't want it gone, but I also don't want its competitors gone either. You know what I mean?
The hard thing about it is that their competitor. It's hard to compete with Epic Games because they are. Well, they have the money now, right? That post Fortnite, they have the money now. They have the experience. I mean, some of the guys at Epic Games, you know, there's like hundreds of developers that have been at Epic Games for their entire career. And secondly, they're able to, you know, push updates on the engine at such a rate that, you know, Unity, Crytek, like Godot, like all of the other engines, like it's hard to
compete with.
It's hard to compete with. It really is.
And another thing that's important to point out here is because all of my game programming classes, with the exception of the first one where we used a proprietary engine that my professor had made, it was all either Unity or Unreal, because those are the ones that are free and easily accessible, right? So a lot of people who are probably going into the games industry, like if you're hiring people who are coming out of school, those are most likely the tools that they are familiar with. So it's easier to hire up new staff that already knows how to use a particular engine, instead of being like, okay, but we have Decima engine and it's really good, but you're going to need like probably 6 months to a year to figure out how to do it.
So
and plus it's in C++ as well too.
Daniel, real quick. So what you're saying is your professor started peddling fanfic to you instead of teaching you how it's supposed to be done.
No, actually, I think that his specific, because that was for Game Programming 1, it was for 1040, and I think he specifically wanted us to use his engine because it was so obtuse and broken and awful. I think that he specifically like wanted to challenge us, because a lot of the people who were in that class dropped pretty fast because they were like, I don't know what any of this is. But those of us that sort of stuck it out and were talking to each other and figured it out, by the time we were done with that semester and we were turning in our final projects, you would be, I mean, it was exactly what Deli was saying. You would be shocked that all those games were coming out of the same engine. Like, it was so wildly different.
Yeah, no, I do agree on the point that Unreal Engine does unlock creativity and folks take it in many different directions. My concern tends to only be more in the technical realm, because like when one Unreal Engine issue game pops up, it tends to pop up everywhere. Like the issue du jour these days is shader caching on the PC side. Obviously, consoles have other ways of mitigating that, but that's an Unreal Engine 5 problem. Other engines have other ways of solving that, but it's just in general. Like, I think it's a great engine. You know, I play with it myself pretty frequently, but like, I want there to continue to be competition, and I hope that continues to stay. Even though I do agree that it's pretty damn hard to compete with Epic with Tim Sweeney seeding the ground and paying people like Umbra to smile and
shill
sing
for it.
Sing every time Unreal Engine 5 is
Unreal
mentioned.
shill.
Time out.
Come on.
Now I have to call out that I am not the only shill up here because
go ahead.
we have
I know where you're going. Go ahead.
We have a brother who has a particular love for Abacus that he always mentions and brings up, with the Steam Deck. K. Asante, you have been called to the table, sir. If I am the shield for Unreal Engine, you are definitely the shield for the Steam Deck. Can you speak for yourself in this situation,
of course
please?
Of course I can. See the difference. See the way I can like remove myself from the equation you find yourself in is I'm a technologist, so most people know that about me. So more often than not, I am called on
is that a real
in
word?
the DMs.
I've never heard it before.
It is now. It's now. Yeah, he said it. He said it. It's real.
We're breaking.
So I am asked. I'm called upon in the DMs to help people install things, to answer questions, to do this and that. So I tend to speak on the things that people want to hear.
He's Batman.
I am sorry, Umbra, that maybe I tend to speak in glowing terms of hardware that I use that works well.
Well,
I get paid. I don't get paid by a certain Sweeney Todd like you do. I'm just saying.
Listen, the check is already cleared for K. Asante. This is why he's saying what he's saying. What's up, Risky? We saw you in the audience with you. We saw your big head out there in the audience, man.
What's going on, Risky?
How did you all feel about Nicolas Cage coming out there, Risky? Write it in the chat. Let us know.
Yeah, man, we want to hear some stories.
I wanted to hear him doing his reaction of like, oh no, like the bees from. I just wanted to see that.
The bees.
Oh, man. But to get back on track, because we're running a little late here. After that, we had Party Animals, which is just Gang Beasts 2. It's just literally Gang Beasts, but it's more. So that's neat. It's coming out September 20th. We already kind of talked about it. So unless someone has something in particular they want to say, I think we'll move past it.
Yep.
Nope.
There was a Dying Light section, which was a little weird because the guy came out and he was like, "We're making content," and I was like, "What's the content?" And he was like, "No, I'll tell you later."
Like we're making it. That's the announcement.
That's all you need to know.
Content. It's gonna be cool.
It was so jarring that when they moved on to the next segment, I thought that was the game he was talking about, and I was like, "No, it's not. No, it's not," because it's too damn colorful.
Dying Light.
Crash Team Rumble.
But yeah, no, so exactly. The next one is Crash Team Rumble. It's coming out June 20th, 2023, which is that's tomorrow, baby. That's now. They announced, I think, some new characters for it. I'm honestly not buzzed for this game. I don't know anybody who is, but I'm sure it'll make its money because people love Crash.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, It didn't really do anything. I mean, I knew about it already too, and that's another thing. It's a repeated thing. It's two things I noticed about this show, or three things. One was that it was things we had already seen, a lot of those. Two, it was some odd reason. It was a lot of medieval type based games, if you all noticed. Even this one right here on screen right now.
It was a lot.
It was a lot of them, right? And three,
a lot of swords and shields. Yep.
Yeah, and then three was like a lot of them being mobile and like casual based games. And I think overall, it kind of hurt the show in a way because we are here for the hardcore gaming. Like we want to see the crazy AAAs typically. We throw some double A's in there too, but like typically the showcase season is for big time gaming, and sometimes seeing stuff like that, you'd be like, okay, why is this mobile game here? You know what I mean?
Well, do you think that the fantasy game skew is because last time people got mad at him for having too many sci-fi games and he overcorrected?
Yeah, it could
Probably.
be.
It could be.
Yeah. You need a good balance, right?
Yeah.
Brisket, I just want to ask, how was it watching a show live in person? It's been forever since I've done that. I miss it.
He said the seats were tiny, so the show lost points. Are you sure the seats were tiny? Because you're also like probably 6'6" or something. Like you're a big dude.
He
like
did look
210,
uncomfortable. He did look uncomfortable. I did notice you were kind of like bunched. It looked like a little bit. I noticed that. So yeah, I can see that. Oh, by the way, we kind of skipped over Alan Wake 2. What did you all think about
Alan Wake
that?
2.
Oh, fire. Heat.
I think it showed better here than it did at the
great.
PlayStation 1.
I agree. I agree with that. Yeah.
And did you guys hear the rumors that have been confirmed with Alan Wake 2?
What's that?
What? No.
Day 1 GP.
Really?
Really?
It's been confirmed, you said?
That might be at the
out-
Xbox
it's out
showcase,
there in
right?
the zeitgeist. Yeah.
Really?
The confirmation is all but assured. Day one GP.
If that is if that's coming if that's Game Pass bound and they announced it at Xbox, that's another W.
Well, they
That'd be
also did say
amazing.
that digital only for now, so
I'm all
That
That
for
would
it.
make sense
Yeah.
if it's coming to Game Pass then, because that's
Yeah.
digital only.
I can
yeah.
see it.
Yeah.
I love.
looks
I'm
so good,
all
though.
digital, so that's perfect for me. Plus, I like that
Get
they're
another-
lowering the price for it since it's digital, which all games should be. If they're digital, they should be cheaper than the physical counterpoint. But yeah,
Then you've also got the Game Pass discount on top of that. So
10%. Yeah, that's pretty hot.
all for it.
Yeah, I'll probably still end up buying it because Alan Wake 1 is like not top 10 games for me, but probably like top 25, top 30. Like it's up there. I really love that game. So this one, just all the gameplay that we saw for it, assuming that it wasn't, bull shots or whatever, looks phenomenal. Like the idea of switching back and forth. I don't know if anyone played American Nightmare, the DLC for the first Alan Wake.
Yeah.
But that sort of seems to set up kind of loosely what is going on here, where Alan is stuck in like the dark world and he's communicating through different kinds of like radio signals and stuff with this FBI agent. And I am so excited to see how this works out because immediately it looks stunning. The actress who's playing the FBI agent is apparently some famous lady. I think
she
someone
played on
said
The
she was
Wire. I remember her.
On The Wire, I
Yeah.
haven't watched that, but it's one of those shows everyone says it's phenomenal.
You have to watch that.
Wow.
That's a
There you
discussion
go.
for another time.
I'll get
but
to
yeah.
it.
You need to correct that
For sure.
immediately.
Yes, sir.
But
That's a
I'm
classic right
so
there.
excited.
Yeah. Risket
October
said he
17th,
spoke with the
2023.
devs of Alan Wake, by the way. So that's pretty dope.
Really?
Yeah, he had a chance to speak with them. That's pretty cool.
Was it you who leaked that it's going into Game Pass?
Yeah, right. Yeah, breaking news here. Yeah. No,
you didn't have enough gruff in your voice for his accent there.
Yeah, that's
Umbra.
true. That's true.
Yeah.
Good try though.
Need to work
It was a valiant effort. Yeah.
Work on it. Yeah.
Anyway.
Effort.
After that, we had Warhammer Space Marine 2, which we already talked about. Looks great.
Gorgeous.
Super excited. Another
Yes.
Game Pass game, saving me money.
Mhm.
Then after that, it was Yes, Your Grace Snowfall, which is a very poor title for a game that I think actually looks pretty good.
Sequel,
Have
I
you
think,
played
right?
the first game?
Yeah, sequel.
Is
Many
it?
of
Yeah,
you
it's a
played the
sequel.
Oh, I didn't
first
know it
game?
was a sequel.
Oh, I didn't know
Yeah, it's a
that
First one's
sequel. I
great.
thought it was DLC. The first one was great.
I
Yeah,
had no
absolutely.
idea. It's my first time actually knowing about the
It was
game.
in Game
Yeah.
Pass at one point.
Because it looked like
Really?
that thing where they it looks like one of those games where they sort of take a hit on the graphical side so that they can make the mechanics more in depth, and that's really exciting to me for a game like that. It reminds me of like a Disco Elysium or even a Pentiment kind of.
Okay.
And so that does have me excited. I think, provided that I am somehow able to find time between the other 4,000 games that come out
I
this
know,
year,
right?
it's definitely one that
I've
I'm
had a
interested in. Of course, it comes out
really
next year, so
interesting
that might help.
Yeah, the first game had a really interesting story, so I'm looking forward to seeing how this one actually plays, because I will definitely give it a go, and hopefully Game Pass.
Yeah.
Do you know if
Yeah.
it's still in Game Pass? Should I go and
I don't think it's still in Game Pass now, but it might make a.
It's on
sudden
sale on Steam.
re-
It's $6.
recurrence. Yeah, it's not
Okay.
expensive.
Yeah,
I'll
I think
check
it
it out.
came out of Game Pass last year during the House of the Dragons craze. It kind of benefited
Oh,
a bit from
yeah.
that as well. It was out there for a
That
while. It's a
makes
great
sense.
game. You should- you
It
should
came out.
have
Yeah,
to
it
try
came
Yeah,
out
it is a good
2020.
game.
So
Is
Yeah,
it just called
yeah.
Yes, Your Grace, but then something else?
no, it's just
Yeah,
Yes,
this
Your
one's
Grace.
just Yes,
Yes,
Your
Your Grace.
Grace.
Okay.
Yeah.
The first
I'll
one,
look into
yeah.
it. Maybe I'll try that out once I get over my addiction of Diablo 4. Another
This will be
Sword
a
and
while.
Shield game on the screen, by the way. Baldur's Gate 3 here.
Baldur's Gate 3 again.
Oh, it's gonna be great.
again, it
It's gonna be
looks
so good.
so good.
Yep.
Has anyone here played the old Baldur's Gate, like 1 and 2?
Oh,
Yeah, I had the
Oh, yeah.
collector's
Or even
edition.
the definitive edition ones? They're
Yeah.
so good. Classics, instant classic games. This one has me very excited. I didn't get in on the demos because I didn't want to get spoiled on anything, which has hurt me every time because it's been so long. It's been 400 years. I need it.
I just need Baldur's Gate 3 to come out on 2 discs.
Why,
Yeah.
why,
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
two discs?
A real-
old time
A real nostalgic, for the fans.
Did we already have a date for this game, or was this
We
officially
do.
we
It should
did?
be.
I know, but did we have a date
August
prior
1st,
to this?
2023.
August
And-
31st.
Oh, I have no idea.
End of August, yeah.
Yeah, because I was just like, if this is, because that's a big win if they've finally given the announcement of the date here. Yeah.
I don't think so.
Pretty sure
I
we
thought
had
it
a
was
date before,
announced.
right?
Yeah, I thought it was announced before.
Yeah, it was,
I
it
think-
was announced
Yeah.
already. Yeah.
We may have only had
Probably.
August, and then they gave a specific day or something. It's unclear to me.
Yeah, we knew about it. We didn't know about the launch date, I don't believe, and we didn't see such gameplay. At least like the cutscene thing. I don't think they showed much of that before.
Yeah.
Looked interesting.
This this article is written on the 24th of February. So yeah, we've had the release date for quite some time now.
Oh,
Okay,
wow.
okay, cool.
Okay,
I
so
couldn't
it was,
remember. I was
okay.
like, huh?
Wow. Okay,
It's been
yeah.
a while.
Just to go
Good
back real
reminder.
fast, because the only one we skipped here is one that I don't think we'll have much to talk about. Maybe Chaos
John
Ante, because it is like an
Carpenter's
older movie.
Toxic
Is,
Commando.
Toxic Commando
It
coming
looks
out next
really
year.
good.
It falls into that camp of this looks interesting, but I don't know who is asking for it. In the same way of what was it, Zombie Clowns from Mars or whatever the hell that thing was.
Daniel, did you just regulate me to the grandpa of the group? Is that what you just did there? I appreciate that.
Look,
sir.
man, I might have did. I might have did it.
I appreciate that, sir. I did not understand.
Okay, but are you
this
looking
IP.
forward to this game though?
I did
Was
not know
wrong?
this IP. I had no reference for this
Okay.
IP. Thank you, sir.
I
Call me
apologize, I
grandpa.
apologize.
Can I call you old? Am I the youngest? I think I'm the youngest on the panel
I
now.
think you are.
Probably.
Oh,
Danny.
Lord.
28, where are you at?
26.
Yeah, you're definitely
I was
youngest,
I
yeah.
couldn't even buy. I'm gonna date everybody here, right?
You
gonna make
young
everybody feel
whippersnapper, you.
When
My day.
when the original Last of Us came out in 2013, I was not old enough to buy it legally.
Oh wow.
Move
I think I
on.
was in
Move
the
on.
same-
Next topic.
Yeah. Next topic.
Next topic. Oh God.
360 came out when I was like freshman year.
Wow, you young whippersnappers. No,
Right? Yep.
Toxic Commando actually looked really, really solid though. I wonder what engine they used, but it looked good.
Oh God. There you go.
You already know where I'm going with it.
There we go.
You know what? Actually, maybe it didn't look that good. In hindsight.
No, hey, no retroactive takey backsies. No, it looks good. I think it'll be something that if a group of friends, if you all get together, it'll be something you might enjoy. It looked really good to me. I think it might shine if brought into a particular service, if you will. But
Game Pass?
Yeah.
What?
You know.
Stadia.
Is that the service you were talking? You didn't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Stadia.
Oh, he was
Stadia.
definitely
Yeah.
talking about Luna.
Stadia. He was talking about Stadia.
Did
yeah.
on Arrival and Stadia.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What else did we have, Danny?
Well, we got the one that's I think still on screen. Spider-Man 2. They didn't really show anything. They didn't show anything new, but they gave us a couple new pieces of information that were honestly a little surprising that they were at the PlayStation show. Namely, apparently the Venom in the game is not going to be Eddie Brock, which
I
is
did not
curious.
like. Yeah.
And
I like that.
That's fine. That's okay.
Yeah.
I
And we got
What's
the
wrong with
release
it?
date.
You didn't play the first Spider-Man?
I remember.
Spoilers.
I remember it, but it's like Eddie Brock was the
But he-
original Venom. It's like let him be that. I
Yeah.
didn't like that they changed.
But
it.
he also specifically asked if it was an Osborn Venom, and he seemed to imply that it wasn't.
It-
So I don't think it's that. Either.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't hear that part. Okay, I didn't know that. But
Yeah. So I don't know what's going on. It might literally just be Venom by himself with nobody in there. That'd be funny.
I hope not.
Who knows?
But the only other thing we got from it, just real fast before we get into the conversation, a release date of October 20th. So it was not the September date that Tony Todd leaked. And then also they showed off, after the fact, they showed off what has to be said, a way overly complicated pre-order scheme.
Yeah.
Which is, there's like a digital version, a digital deluxe that you can pre-order that gives you like 10 new skins. And then there's
And
the
those skins
the
look good
regular-
though.
They
Those
do.
skins look. Those skins
There's
look
one
really
that I'm
good.
concerned about. There's one I'm concerned about from like is this okay? Is this PC sort of scenario? Because there's one that is called like the Stone Monkey skin, and I'm like, that better be it for Peter. That better be a Peter skin. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see how that turns out. Yeah, boys.
I thought some of the skins I saw didn't look as great to me. I didn't care for that Arachnite, whatever. When I'm like, nah, no thank you.
Okay.
But they're gonna have a lot of
Assassin's Creed
options.
looking one.
Yeah, but they're gonna have a lot of options. So it is what it is.
All right. To
it's gonna
clarify
be
here,
a great game.
Brian Insahar says he's the creative director, obviously at Insomnia Games. He says it's not Eddie Brock. Our goal is to tell an original story, something you haven't seen in the comics and the movies yet. Obviously, we love Venom for a reason. All of those things that you love about the character are going to be there, but how the story actually plays out, who is Venom, you'll just have to play the game and see.
Yeah, well, I guess I can understand that. I'm not mad at that part.
This might be a stupid question. Was Topher Grace Eddie Brock in that movie, or was he a different character?
He was.
'Cause I
Yeah,
do
he
not
was.
remember.
He was Eddie Brock in
we're
in
trying to
Spider-Man
forget
3.
that. Yes,
I'll never forget it.
Oh,
We're trying hard to
That
take
dance
it out
did
the
it.
mental Rolodex.
Yeah.
Nope.
Never forget
That movie,
it.
look, that movie came out when me and Deli were going to prom. Okay.
When did it come out?
Oh God.
I
It
was
came
not a fan
out
of it. Nope.
2007. I was 10 years old actually in
Oh, wow.
2007.
Outta here.
So I wasn't even at prom yet, mate.
Sheesh.
Is this
I
just a
couldn't- I
veiled
wouldn't
attempt to
15,
torture me?
16 at the time. Damn.
Is that what this show is? A veiled attempt to torture me? Is that what's happening right now?
Both of us.
yeah,
Both
actually,
of
they
us
gave
gay.
they gave me cue cards
Okay,
at the
Asante,
beginning of the
problem is-
show. They said that since
You've
I've
hit the
never
level of
spoken to you,
friendship.
Asante, I had to hit all these notes, and so
Yeah. Put your points. Yeah.
The problem is,
Well, I
is that
get-
you've hit
yeah.
the level of friendship where we just have to razz you all the time.
Oh,
So I'm
God.
sorry.
I can see why it resonates with you guys. I mean, you all were young, you didn't know any better, but that movie was
know.
horrible.
young snot.
Oh,
It
no,
nose,
was
you know,
horrible.
Yeah, yeah. yeah.
It was a bad movie, but like it still had its merits in some things.
It did have its moments. I mean, Peter dancing, of course, is a classic. I mean, you know, but
Who can
That's
forget
Like,
the
people
classic
are gonna
line,
skip.
dig on this.
yeah.
Dig on this.
No, but it's interesting though. Like one of the odd things we pointed out earlier, and this was one of the things. Why in the world did Sony allow that to be shown here for the launch, like the launch date
Announcement date.
The release
Yeah.
date. Yeah.
instead of at their own showcase? What was that? Made no sense.
blows me away.
It makes no sense, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't
no
really
sense.
get that.
That's
The
like
only-
Starfield being shown off here, and then Microsoft just announcing the controller later or something. It's
Right.
just very
Yeah.
strange.
Oh, man.
Very strange. You know.
probably the marketing team hadn't had it ironed out last month or whatever quite yet, and then they were like, oh, I guess we can just announce it on social media, but Jeff probably contacted
should've
Sony
just-
and paid for it, so
Mm.
What they could have done is said like October such and such on their date, like October or whatever, like that, a closer release window, and then said tune into this showcase for more details. And it would have implied that there's more coming at a later date, and a lot of people would have been happier at that. I guess as a result, they would have been like, okay, so well, Summer of Game Fest is in 2 weeks. We're going to hear more about Spider-Man 2. So sweet. I'm happy about that. Yeah, it's just a really odd thing to do on your own showcase.
Yeah.
But you can understand why they've pushed it
Yeah.
out to October. There are so many games coming out in September, and it needs to kind of stand on its own to
Yeah.
do really well.
I'm just surprised
Mhm.
by that. Another iOS Android game. Final Fantasy, by the way. Square, you can kiss my bleep.
Well, let's
You've got the choice of that or Foam Stars. You'll pick Umbra.
Well,
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Well, it's gonna be Foam Stars because you can play Foam Stars on a console. So.
Oh
well,
Lord.
yeah, oh man.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, the world's first Foam Stars Pro.
Let's
Right.
not
Yeah.
skip
Yeah.
over.
Well,
let's
watch
not
it.
skip over Pale World, because I have a feeling that
Oh,
game
Pale World?
that deserves some conversation. I
That
heard
actually
laughter
looked
in
good.
the
You wanna talk
audience.
about
Does
Pokemon with
does it
Pokemon
really?
AK-47.
It was
It makes me uncomfortable.
The minute
It gives me
they pulled out
actual
weapons, when they pulled out weapons, the audience started laughing, and I was just like, "What the f is this?
Well, yeah,
Like,
'cause-
what is going on?"
No, you
here?
don't understand. We've seen this before.
Yeah, this
and in
isn't
the
new.
previous press release for it, they
Okay.
were talking about how, like, yeah, there's this one not Pokemon that'll take a bullet for you, and like
What?
they show it, and he's getting shot, and he's crying, and then they're like, and you can put your Pokemon to work in a factory, making you new guns, so that you can
They-
go out and capture illegal.
They don't see how
Pokemon that
weird
you're
this
not supposed to be
actually
able to
is, huh?
catch.
You're
It's
the
like-
slave
it's
masters
dark.
now. Yeah, look
Yeah,
at
no, not even.
visually it's
noticing
gorgeous.
how- They're not noticing how really effed up and weird this is. They are earnestly surprised and happy about this whole thing. I'm
Yeah.
like,
It's
what?
either that.
He's shooting an AK. What's going on?
You know what
here?
I'm? You know what I'm
He's
honestly
shooting a real
surprised by?
American AK.
About outside of that and the Gatling gun and all of that.
Uh-huh.
I'm kind of shocked by how close a lot of these designs are to Pokemon, and that Nintendo is
Yeah.
not like decimating them with lawsuits or something right now.
Yeah. Well, not even the lawsuit angle, but I've looked at the video a couple times, and I'm just like, you do realize that the iconography literally speaks to children, and then they whip out Uzis and start hurting each other. Like, what are we? Am I the only parent in the room? Maybe I may be the only parent on
Yeah.
this panel here. But
No, you're not the only parent.
Okay.
But we're all feeling it.
I was just like, what the hell? Did no one tell them that? Where was the foresight? Like, no one said anything
Hey.
to them during
The
process?
foresight is that the ESRB is rated M, and they said, yeah, they got us.
Oh my!
Is
goodness. This is crazy.
Is it possible that they're doing it on purpose as a bit? Is that the joke?
I don't
Maybe.
know.
What?
There's
Those
two.
sheep
They're,
What are
holding
the
those
odds?
guns, mowing people down.
Yeah,
they're too
Yeah.
committed now, right?
Too
Like
far
it was,
in.
it was like a meme that got out of hand, and they said, oh well, I guess people like it, so
It's
Ironically,
like someone
though-
lost a bet, right? It's like somebody with a lot of money lost a bet. What's going on here?
They were using a wheel of fortune at work, and they were just picking aspects they liked, and they got Pokemon.
It was a
and then
Mad Lib.
But with guns.
It was a stand-up meeting Mad Lib.
Yeah. It's like, what if we had Pokemon and mixed it with another great franchise, Call of Duty? No, it's interesting. I'm just shocked.
And we have labor
so
camps, and we're all like, okay,
Right.
sure.
They must have been watching some Drawn Together, like.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
You're not even wrong.
I'm just honestly shocked that the characters look so close to the Pokemon characters, and that Nintendo hasn't got on them about that.
So cute and so cuddly right before they whip out the old, Desert Eagle and blow you away.
Whip
like,
out the
what's
blicky,
going
as they
on?
say. They whip out the
All right,
blicky.
guys, we gotta catch Lugia. We gotta take him out gangland style.
What is going?
I choose you, AK-47 Pikachu.
Have they really run out of ideas? Is this the reason for that? Is it because that's the reason why we keep getting remakes? We get remakes and lambs with Uzis? Like, what's going on here? What is
G maybe said, gotta shoot
Every
them all.
P is made better when you add guns.
He's
Gotta shoot them
gotta
all.
shoot them all.
To be fair, because it's so stupid, it'll probably be really big with streamers for a little bit. Just because like it's Pokemon, but it's ridiculous.
Bro, I'm playing this day one. What do you think? I'm gonna play this.
Yeah.
He's got that whole gotta shoot them all. That's how you fill out your Pokédex.
Right.
You shoot them with the camera, right? Okay,
You see them you see them with bullet holes in the middle of their heads oozing out, and their tongues are sticking out. The Pokemon. Like, come on.
Pokemon high on life.
That'll be an expansion. They make a horror edition,
I think it's already a horror edition.
Halloween edition.
It's already my nightmare. It doesn't need to go any further.
It's crazy. It's
What else? What else did we have?
Yeah. Okay. So after that, we got an expansion for Black Desert Line, which is a big MMO. Well, big MMO. It's a really good-looking MMO. I don't know how popular it is, but the expansion is called Land of the Morning Light, and it's based on Korean mythology. I couldn't tell you if the whole game is based on Korean mythology because I'm not familiar with it. But it's cool to see Korean mythology because it's not something we see very often, and it is very interesting. Like I've done a little bit of research into it for my own dumb mythology nerd needs, and it's pretty cool.
Looks good.
Those devs are amazing.
They are.
They're like, if you look at the stuff they do, the stuff they have coming out will blow your mind. Like
that's Pearl Abyss,
they're
right?
really good.
They
Pearl
have
Abyss, yeah.
I forgot.
so.
They had this their own proprietary engine, and it looks really good. It's another. What's that other game they had? It was Pokemon-esque as well that was using that engine. I cannot think of it, but it's
it had a music video. It had a realistic world with cute colors in it. Yes,
exactly.
I remember that.
Is that them? Are you talking? Oh
Yes,
god,
that's
them
them
too. Yeah.
Doki Doki Club or whatever.
Doki.
No, Doki Doki literally. You're talking about Doki V.
No.
Doki,
Yeah, Doki V. That's what it is. That's what it is.
Club is very
That's what it is. Different game. Yes, that's what it is. There you
Yeah,
go. There you
Doki
go.
V. That's it.
But you understand what I'm saying.
I understand.
You got me in the
it.
ballpark, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, you whippersnapper. Don't you try to correct him. No, but it looks their engine, whatever they use, their proprietary engine is solid. And I've always wanted to play Black Desert just because I like how the animation and art and style of it is, and the tax and things like that. But again, it's MMO, and I just don't have time for that.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, it falls into the same camp as the previous one, where I'm like, that looks really good. I can't wait for other people to play it and tell me how
You
good
guys,
it is.
you guys
Tell
should
me if
look,
it's any good. Yeah.
if you think you like the way they do things, look up Plan 8. It will blow your ever-loving mind, but unfortunately, it also is an MMO. It's an exosuit MMO shooter. Like graphically, you've never seen anything like it.
You know
like,
what?
Ever.
Earlier, Gerald Mack in the chat mentioned something about something with 8. I think that's what he was
Look
talking
it up.
about.
Plan 8. Yes, by
Plan
Pearl
8.
Abyss.
Let me look
It's
that
been
up.
in the works. I've been keeping an eye on it for maybe 3 or 4 years now. They've been working on it. But same engine. It looks insanely good. I'm talking like a Star Citizen levels of good. Like graphically, it's amazing. Hopefully,
Well, except that this is
I
a real
remember-
game that
I
will
remember
theoretically
this.
come out someday.
I remember.
hopefully
this.
Star
it comes
Citizen is never coming out.
Yeah,
I know.
It's not a game.
I remember this, K, but it's been so long since I've seen it. It does look insane, man.
Yeah.
It's
Wow.
amazing. Yep, absolutely.
But next up, then we had Return to Moria, which it looks like it's a PC only. It might also be on iOS. I didn't catch it. But it's definitely PC. It's coming out fall of this year, and it looks like it's some kind of action builder that takes place after the movies, where you go back to Moria and try to reclaim it. So that's
Also coming to
Interesting.
PlayStation and Xbox.
Oh, did they announce that?
Yeah.
Cool. I didn't see that on the trailer, but that's good to know.
Mm-hmm.
It does look interesting. Like, I'm a Lord of the Rings nerd, so if it's coming to Xbox and it's relatively cheap, I'll probably jump in on it.
I heard some people,
but I don't think it's gonna make noise.
In the watch party,
It can't be any worse than Golem, so.
Yeah, hopefully.
Oh, ain't that the truth?
I was some people I watched the watch party with. They wished that it was more photorealistic visuals than stylistic. But
Yeah.
Look, us Lord of the Rings fans have not had good things for a long time, so we're just gonna take what we can get. Okay.
Yeah.
Beggars do not choose.
Yeah. This game is gorgeous, by the way, and it looked way out of Donut's wheelhouse, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Since it's on.
That's actually pretty much the next one. It's called Banisher's Ghost of New Eden. All I wrote down was Scottish Witcher.
Yeah.
Second time we've seen it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we saw this somewhere else. I don't remember where.
Previous showcase last year, I think.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I did not.
I want to say it was like
this.
maybe even Gamescom. Like, I don't think it showed anything. Like, I don't think it showed anywhere big. Like, I don't think it was Xbox or Showcase last year or anything. But it does look really interesting.
Yeah.
It's it reminds me, like I said, it reminds me a little bit of The Witcher and a little bit of, if you remember, Murdered Soul Suspect.
I remember.
Yeah.
It's a weird poll. I don't know if anyone's ever actually played that game.
Yep.
I
I remember it. Yep.
Uh-huh.
And by the way, the game was shown off at the Game Awards in 2022.
That's what it was. Okay.
Gotcha.
Somebody in our party said, "Oh, we've seen this already, didn't we?" I'm like, I don't remember seeing this, but okay,
Yep.
that's why. Okay, it looks good.
Makes sense.
And he's talking about his part, and then you realize that she's dead.
Yes, exactly.
You
No,
didn't
good.
want to talk about the mobile game for Final Fantasy VII?
No, I was gonna go
Not
back
at
to
all.
it. I was gonna go back to it. We did get so that was Final Fantasy Ever Crisis, which they were like, we still don't know Sephiroth, and I'm like, we've seen Sephiroth in like 90 games. I think we know Sephiroth.
Can I just
but
point
it's a
out?
mobile game. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, can I just point out that the Ever Crisis name is kind of what I feel like Square Enix is in at the moment. Ever Crisis.
Mhm. I was going to say the same
Forever in a
thing. Well
crisis.
done.
You are
well
correct.
Done.
You are
Yes.
correct, and you should say it.
Yes.
This was also my only thing of note from this is the game doesn't look very good. It's probably something that's going to be very much forgettable. This is now, I think, like the 4th or 5th Final Fantasy VII specifically, and it had the really funny bit right afterwards where he was like, "Speaking of Final Fantasy," and everyone in the crowd went, "Oh!" and he's like, "DoorDash, dude."
Yeah. And by the way, I tried to do that, and then I looked at the bill. I was like, I'm not ordering some Taco Bell for $30 worth of, for the delivery and everything else to try to get entered in for that contest. Nope.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Just to have the runs. No, thank you.
Yeah.
He's paying to have the runs. No, thank you.
Right. I better win the Final Fantasy 16 if that's the case.
Gotcha. After that, we had like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name, which goes into the anime category of naming things, in that it's a full ass sentence. It looks good. It doesn't look like a traditional Yakuza game to me, in that the enemies are super high, so I don't know if it's like bridging into that Muso territory. But it looks really good. I love the Yakuza games. Coming out November 9th.
Yeah, it actually does look good. It did look kind of like it broke into that Dynasty Warriors-esque kind of style, right? And what was with that little blue whip thing that he did, and he pulled the items to him? I didn't understand that, but I think
He's a wizard in this one.
I guess so.
I don't know.
The man who forgot his name or whatever it was, but he remembers magic powers or something now. But no,
He's been playing Hogwarts Legacy, and that's what
That's
it
what it
is.
was.
Yeah,
There you go.
the only spell he
Yeah.
learned was Accio, and he uses it constantly. But
Right.
it's really good.
No, it looks good. I think their engine has evolved really nicely. It looks really solid. I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
I love those games, and
Hopefully
Kiryu.
I still need to go
Optimized
back and play the previous Gaiden one where you're a samurai.
Yeah, I played a bit of it.
because
I played the demo.
it's
I
a good
didn't play it
series.
Enough. Yeah.
After that, we got Under the Waves, which looks like it's a sort of I can't remember the name of the thing it
Sequel?
reminded me of, because I kept I kept thinking 2000 Leagues Under the Sea, but that's a completely different like time period. But you're right. It's sort of like a C-Lab sort of aesthetic. It looks like it's an indie game. It looks like it's kind of cute, maybe a little funny. This strikes me as like high potential to be an indie darling, but probably more likely than not will just be forgotten about by most people.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. What else do we have?
Call of Duty Season 4, baby. I don't know anything about what's going on in Call of Duty presently. They added some new maps. One is a zoo. That seems neat. I don't know.
They watched the movie We Brought a Zoo and they were like, let's do this.
What if we bought a zoo and then we put guns in it, and then Pal World was like, hold my beer.
Hey, you can't go messing with that Pokemon
Yeah.
Pokemon with guns game.
You put them in a zoo here and have the guns in Power.
Now we need
You
a
are the
crossover.
zoo.
We need a crossover now. Come on.
I see the boys there advertisement. What's that about? You saw that?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's actually from a previous collaboration because I seem to remember them having like a Warzone The Boys thing. I might be wrong on that. It's genuinely not my area of expertise.
Me either. I don't really play Call of Duty multiplayer, really. Story only.
Yeah.
Story only. And here is the horrible looking Xbox console and controller. I don't know what they were thinking with this one.
Well,
They're
isn't it
making
multiple?
like a limited edition. Yeah, there's a limited edition run of like Porsche 75-year anniversary, or sorry, Porsche 70-year anniversary consoles. And most of them look like they had like pride flags on them, and I was like, cool, like Pride Month. I don't know what this has to do with the car.
They showed
when I think of Porsche, I don't think of like rainbows, but whatever.
There was like a pink one, there was a weird bluey one, bluey greeny, like
Yeah.
acry one, and then there was like
And
one
then
with
they
red stripes.
slapped a
and-
big 75 on the controller. It looks ugly as hell.
It looks terrible. I know traditionally that bluish green one they use with the red, like orangish red stripe, whatever. That's in white. That's one of their traditional ones. But look at that. Like, no, that doesn't look good.
Well, it's all based off skins of their cars from that year, right?
Yeah.
From that time.
Most
frame.
likely.
From different.
I'm sure
championship.
if somebody is like a huge
Look at
like
that.
racing fan, that they'd be like, that's the skin from that one car from the year whatever. But it's over my head.
By the way,
It's-
if they have a customized controller and console for this, where in the world is Starfields for their
Coming
Well, so
to
this is
Xbox's
a very
showcase?
small. This is a very small like limited edition sort of thing. They do this sometimes with just like other things.
Yeah.
I think that this honestly makes more sense to me than doing a full limited edition, like limited console for a specific game and putting it out into stores. Because right now Xbox is already struggling to get enough consoles on store shelves. I don't think necessarily adding a new SKU of it is going to help them.
Yeah. Well, I see.
But
we
then
have
after that we get
Fae Farm.
Yeah, Fae Farm. It's looks like a little bit of a cross between like maybe an Animal Crossing / Harvest Moon sort of situation, which is certainly interesting for some people. It's just gonna be one of those like chill vibe games where you put on a podcast and you just like hang out. I guess I don't know. Probably won't be for me, but
Nintendo and PC, yeah.
Not my style, but
someone will play it.
my buddy C-Steph, this was like the game of the show for him. I was like, what? Everybody was like, what? But
Was
this
he
is a solid
joking
game.
by
No,
any
he was
chance?
he was dead serious.
Hey, some people like
By
them
God.
cozy games, man.
Yeah.
That's what they're
There's
about.
no way, I got
They're about
nothing
the
against
cozy games.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of the exact opposite of cozy, the thing we had immediately after that was the Marvel Snap guy came out and talked really loud for a while about nothing, seemingly. He was like, we're adding a new game mode. And they're like, what's the game mode? Don't worry about it. Here's a Pro ZD skit about also nothing. And I'm like, cool. I mean, this was funny, but I don't know why it was here. Like, thanks.
That was
Thank
hilarious. And he was just towering over Keeley, too, which was more hilarious because this guy had to be
He's a
about
big
6'3".
dude. Okay. Here's my segue on this is I hate the commercials for Marvel Snap. Like the game, perfectly fine, no problem. The commercials, so annoying. They pop up and it's that exact same guy who was on the showcase comes up and he's just yelling, and it's always like 4 times because it's always a YouTube ad. It's 4 times louder than whatever video I was just watching, and he's just like, "Hey, John." And I'm like, "Yeah, I did. Please stop. Ow."
Yeah. His name is Ben Bro that they just showed. Yeah. He was really hyped. I remember him being hyped like that the last time, I think, at the VGAs when they won, right? For Marvel Snap. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
I think that's
he came
just
to
his
collect the award,
natural
Yeah.
way of being.
I like his enthusiasm and everything. It was just
It's his
funny.
baseline. I'd hate to see when he's really excited.
Yeah. It's just so funny because Jeff is so reserved and monotone, and having this guy jump out, it was kind of funny.
Yeah.
Funny contrast. Yeah, but I have never played Marvel Snap, but I've heard good things about it. By the way,
Don't do it.
Yeah,
Don't
it's
do
all
it.
right.
It
It's like
is as addictive as Vampire Survivors. You'll be stuck on that thing for a long time. Don't do it.
Okay, I gotta stay away.
Yeah, it's really good though.
You're already on Diablo at the
I'm
moment,
already
Umbra.
I'm already on
Yep.
Diablo. I can't afford to do both of those. Yeah.
I hate card games and I hate mobile games. I was stuck on this game for almost a year, 6 months.
Sheesh.
So it's really good, like really, really good.
So
I'm a
that's
Marvel
Christmas.
zombie, so you know it is what it is.
I could use it, play it maybe while I'm away at work.
That's what
That's
gets
no
you in.
work.
Oh, you don't need a controller. You could just play it on your phone, and then you're hooked. It's
Oh,
very good.
man.
It's very good. Don't do it.
I
Don't
better
do
stay.
it.
I just
I
need
better
one more
stay
snap,
away.
dog. I just need one
Just
more
one
snap.
more. Start scratching my arm. Just one more, man.
After that, we got another mobile game. It was King Arthur Legends Rise. I feel like I've seen this on Google Play at some point. I know nothing about it, but it started, and I was like, oh, are they doing like an Arthurian legend game? That's cool. We haven't got one of those in maybe ever. And then they're like, it's already out, and it's on your phone. And I was like, oh, good.
Yeah, when I
Great,
saw it, I
dude.
was excited at first. I'm
Thanks.
like, oh, look at the art style. Look at the sword. And it was like, oh, mobile. I was like, I lost all interest.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
Eventually,
we
you
also
guys
had
are eventually you're gonna have to change that thought, right? Because mobile games are becoming closer and closer to standard console games, all like more and more every day. You know that, right?
Hey,
Well,
once
when they
get there-
become games, then I'll play them.
When they become games.
Yeah.
Thank you, Daniel. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
welcome. After that, we had Wayfinder, which looked like I don't even.
We've seen
On
It
it.
looked
UE5,
like nothing.
Umbra. You've got to
Yeah,
play it.
UE5, but it was something we had already seen again. It's like, and that's what I said. It's kind of the theme of the show. It's a lot of stuff we had seen, so that's why.
Okay,
that's
so-
why I brought my views.
So
that
what is
Maya
this game?
scored
Because
at.
I was looking at it,
Yeah.
So
like I
early
watched the
access.
trailer for it here, and I was like, I feel like I don't understand what this game is at all.
It's
Like,
a
what is the purpose of
RPG
this?
MMO. That's what it is.
Okay.
Open world style type game.
There are certain games that I watch them in a showcase, and they simply go in one eye and just out the back of my head. Like they're gone the second the trailer is over, and this was one of them.
Let me
So
read
this
it.
is a.
Let me
at
read the
moment, this is a-
synopsis for it. It says Wayfinder is a web-based generative art game that takes the player rather on a contemplative cause and effect journey through nature. All right.
Yeah, nah, you just lost me.
Yeah.
But it's coming to Steam and it's PS4 and PS5 only at this stage. So
Yeah.
see more exclusives shown on on PlayStation Showcase.
Yeah, probably not ones that they wanted to take credit for, but yeah. After
It
that,
seems
we
to have-
had.
It seems to have a lot of Blizzard vibes, though. Am I wrong? It
It
has a lot
kinda
of that.
did.
It has that
It
Blizzard
did.
art style.
Wowie type.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like
yeah.
It looked
Siege
Overwatch,
Team
kind of.
Blizzard.
You know.
Yeah. It kind of reminded me a bit of what is the name of it? Dauntless. That Dauntless game.
That
a
too.
little
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can kind of.
You know, it reminds me of that too, in that you said the name Dauntless and it went straight out the back of my head. Like I forgot it immediately.
There you
That's crazy. That's crazy how that happened again.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. It's colorful. It's nice. I like the art style and everything. Unreal Engine, of course, is a major plus for me.
Of course.
But yeah, not something. It's one of those things, Danny, where we pointed out. It looks like it could be good, just not something I'll probably ever play.
It's just not for me. Yeah. Then we had a run of just a couple really fast games that I think were mobile games. I don't know. We had Stellaris Nexus, which it looked like was a strategy game in space. I think it's popular. I've heard of it before, but I've never heard of anyone actually playing it. So that's interesting. Then we had Space Trash Scavenger, which I don't know. You're floating around in space and you're
Like, I don't
catching
know.
space gunk and selling it to people. It looks like Dredge if it wasn't fun. And then we had for sure a mobile game, Star Trek Infinite, which is literally my only note is some mobile game, I guess. That's
PC
what I
and
wrote
Mac.
next to it.
Yeah.
It's out on
Yeah.
PC and Mac, that game.
Which one?
The
The
Star Trek
one?
Infinite, yeah.
Infinite, I'm gonna say.
And we know
Gotcha.
Umbra's going to be
Okay.
playing it because it's got Infinite in the name.
Yeah, it did tempt me. I won't
Fair.
lie. I was like, Infinite.
It was getting residuals for it, so
Yeah.
But you're not wanting to play with the Fortnite Unreal creator.
That looked
then
insane,
Umbra?
by the way. I've never played Fortnite, as you all may have heard me say before, but that looks so good. I was tempted
Yeah,
to like
it's-
get into it.
their new creation mode is nuts.
It is. It looks
Like
insane.
some of the modes that you can just find rolling around in there already, and it's only been out like a month or two.
Yeah.
It's already nuts.
I've seen a few on like
Uh,
YouTube and such. It looks crazy good. in this.
Oh, yeah,
I remember
big
that.
time.
I remember
Well, and
that
the cool
whole
thing is-
like showcase they did that showed how it works. And I was like, wow.
I don't think I watched that.
Yeah, it was really crazy. Really crazy how
Well, the
far
cool
Unity
thing
5
is that because there's all the skins in the game from all their different collaborations, people can be like, "Oh, I'm gonna make a Star Wars game, so but bring your own Vader because like we can't use Darth Vader. But you gotta bring your own."
Bring your own.
Anyway, after that we got the little clip from the Twisted Metal TV show that looked wildly cringe. My note here is the last person who thought this show was going to be good just died and rolled over in their grave.
I had zero interest in it from the first advert, and this right here did nothing to sell me on it. You know, having Will Arnett and Anthony Mackie in it, I was like, okay, it could be something. And then I saw this, and I was like, nope.
My question is, did they pay the Last Dragon? And by that I mean, Cisco for using his song.
What did he call him? The silver-haired dragon? The silver-haired
The silver-haired dragon.
Like
that.
That's it. Yeah. Did they residually pay him for
I
using
hope
his song?
so.
'Cause let's be clear here. Cisco is a gamer, so he heard them using his song. I'm just saying.
Yeah. And you know, it was funny to see that part a little bit, but then it was like, okay, like from one.
Very cringe.
It was
like
very cringe.
cringe.
It was, and it's like, why are you out of your car? What's going on here? What is the whole purpose of this show?
He even says that in the clip is he's like, "Can we get this back in the car?"
Yeah, it's like, come on. Even they understood it was just wasn't making sense. And that's the problem with something like this, a property like this. It's Twisted Metal. What can you really squeeze out of that outside of just chasing each other around in the cars and killing each other?
You just know Aaron Greenberg's going to be putting out a tweet reminding everyone there's going to be no trailers like that in the showcase.
Yeah. Oh, G maybe said Davy Jaffe was not impressed. You know, this is one of his babies, Twisted Metal.
Yeah.
I bet he
It is
wasn't.
his baby. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
I bet he wasn't.
How could you be?
Yeah, how could you? It looked terrible. And I don't know. I just thought it was silly. A lot of people I know were like, oh, why isn't there no flaming on his head? It's like, okay, you know they're not going to put any flames on that dang clown head. Anyway.
Well, we're really crawling into the finish on this one because the next game is Lisfonga.
Oh, yeah.
Lisfonga?
It sounds like some type of disease when I heard it. I'm like,
it's a game that's being published by Quantic Dream, who are the Heavy Rain guys. But they're not making it, they're just publishing it.
Yeah.
And it looks like the primary mechanic of it is that you like run through the level and then you rewind it, but your previous version still goes and does it, so you can end up having like 10 U's that go out and do other things, I guess.
Like Limit
so like it's yeah, pretty much. Like it's an interesting mechanic, but it's not doing anything for me here.
So there's an Xbox OG Xbox One game that literally has this mechanic that when it came out and I played the hell out of it and I really enjoyed it. I forget the name of the game now.
There was another one that came out like 2 years ago, last year maybe even.
Limusgate.
Lumusgate, yeah. Well, but Lumusgate is three-dimensional shooter, if I'm not mistaken. Am I wrong?
Like a PvP type, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What I'm describing here is this exact game. You run through the game, you fail, you die, you run through it again, and next time you save yourself, and now you're playing with yourself. Pause.
I'm glad you said it because I was about to.
and then you die again, and ultimately you can have like 4 runs, and then 4 of you are going through the game together, fighting the boss. I forget the name of the. I played it actually recently again because it was an OG Xbox. Well, not OG, but it was on Xbox. It was on Xbox One and I think also on PC as well. Made by mobile developers. But it's an interesting mechanic that they're reusing here. There's only one game that I know definitively has done this exact thing, and now they're doing it again. It looks fun. I'll try. The indie stuff is catnip for me, so
I love the indie stuff too. I will say though, I hate and despise the name of it. Lisfonga. It just is a terrible name.
Yeah, and getting it's not gonna hit on any SEO. You know what I mean? Like it's not gonna be one that you stumble across.
Yeah, artistically it is nice looking though. I'll give it that.
I'm a Game Pass.
Yeah. Artistically it's nice. I do like the art style of it. I just hate the name. It's so stupid. Lisfonga. If you too are suffering from Lisfonga, try such as that. It sounds like some type of disease. Right.
Listeria.
Yeah.
After that, we had Immortals of Avium.
Again.
I don't know if anyone else is having this same sort of reaction to this game at this point. I feel like every time I see this game, I am becoming less interested.
Danny, 100%.
Okay.
When I was
You're
watching
not
it,
wrong.
everybody was like, "Oh, I'm sold." I'm like, I honestly have lost more interest in this game. I said that while we were watching. I'm like, it's starting to look less impressive to me.
You know what I'll call it, Umbra? I call it the death loop paradox. The more you watch it, the more you see it, the more you're uninterested in it.
Yeah.
Same thing happened to me with Deathloop. It was great at first, and they kept showing it, and I kept getting less and less interested.
That's a good
Same
point.
thing happening here.
Yeah, that's
like,
a good point.
I'm sure this game will be fine. I'm glad they brought out the voice actor to talk. He seems nice. Like I'm happy that he's working, but I'm just not. I'm just not.
know
He
what-
has a job.
Yeah.
Like, I know why it's here, because like they wanted as much exposure for everyone, regardless of what platform you're playing on. But it really just, if they wanted to show a game, they just needed to show it at the Ubisoft showcase. That's really all they needed to do.
I agree with that too. I mean, I get it. They have to put it out there. I'm not mad at them for that. But again, it's like when you watch these shows and these showcases and you see it again and again and again, it's not going to make this show better by seeing it again. So that's why I said it's like part of the issue for this show that hindered it was a lot of stuff we saw, we knew about, we seen already. And then the other issues that we, mentioned about the mobile and all other things. But yeah, but I agree with you, Danny. I saw this and I was like, I don't know. It's starting to look less good. Yeah, it's starting to look a
Too
little less
much.
good. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe that's that too.
Overexposure.
Like, I would
a
like
bit.
to go figure it
Yeah.
out. Like, if I'm going to play that game, I want to kind of, I've got a feeling for it, but I want to go in there and play it myself. Or at least have a demo out instead of showing it. Give people a chance to engage with your game the way that they want to.
Yeah. Well, I think the problem for me with it is that the first time I saw it, I was like, oh, this is a really cool idea. Like, this is such a unique take. And then the more times I saw it, I was like, actually, this just looks like a pretty box standard shooter, but you've switched it out to be magic. Like, I feel like I started seeing through sort of the log line of the
Guys.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get you.
I
Yeah.
was like, I don't know.
Yeah. And
But
hopefully it's great.
our-
But it started to just like you
Yeah.
said, it started to
man.
not impress me anymore.
At least, what do you call it? Morpheus's wife is still eating. She's everywhere these days. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I appreciate it.
Oh, I love her in everything.
She's amazing.
She's
Yes,
amazing.
she's amazing
Yes.
everywhere she chooses to be. Yes.
Makes me think of Suits. I feel like watching Suits again. But yeah.
Or like Serenity, or
Yeah,
oh my
true.
god,
Mhm.
Firefly,
Sure,
Or
yeah.
Destiny,
Yeah.
or
anything with her in it. Yeah,
Yeah.
Destiny. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, she's amazing. Absolutely.
What else do we have, Danny?
Our penultimate announcement, if you can call it that, and I just wanted to stress how this is literally the second to last thing, was Fortnite Chapter 4 Season 3, and they didn't even show like anything we hadn't already seen. Like, we already had all the splash art for this. We knew who the characters on the battle pass were going to be. Like, there was nothing new here. And it was just like, cool, dude. Thanks. like this was the second to last thing. This was the last thing before the but one more thing moment.
why wouldn't
and
you
it
have
was nothing.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they have shown this during the Fortnite creator
don't
bit?
know.
Like, why
That's
did
a
they
good
have
question.
to separate out Fortnite twice?
It made no sense. Yeah, I agree. With
Especially
Hey man.
especially
Hey,
since
man.
the new season starts tomorrow. Like, that trailer hadn't been out yet. The new season is literally tomorrow. Not that they need to advertise Fortnite, like everyone's playing it already, but
Right.
like
Why? But here's the question though. Why is it that that they insist that every time that Unreal is mentioned, then Umbra has to say he appreciates that? Look, man, Todd, Sweeney has requirements, man. He needs to see it at the beginning of the show,
And for that
or else
reason,
the check will not clear. I'm
and
just
for that
saying.
reason,
I don't know. You make
I
some
must
good
thank
points.
Sweeney and and
There you
Unreal
go.
Engine team for
Hey, man,
blessing us with such great visuals and engine work.
Oh,
do
actually, I
your
thought that
thing,
looked
good
really
sir. Do your thing.
Yeah, what was the final game?
The absolute final thing was Final Fantasy VII Remake 2. Sorry, actually Rebirth this time. They leaves me with several questions. I don't know if anybody else. Did anyone else here play the first one?
Yeah.
Like, finish it?
Yeah, I finished it.
Okay, so I'm really confused by, like, no spoilers, but the way that the first game ends, I don't understand why in this trailer we're being picked up like we just got bodied and we're like getting picked up by Shinra troops.
Yeah.
Because it's like, no, we won though.
We won-
Like, I won
we
that
won,
fight.
though.
I was there.
Right. But did you?
Well,
So I don't know
that
what's going on
the name of the
there.
game with remake here is filler, right?
Mhm.
That's the name of the game with
Yeah.
remake. So clearly, there's going to be a lot more that you didn't know that they're going to add.
Well, and again, without spoilers, the way that the first one ends is basically they all but literally look at the screen and they're
Yeah,
like,
part 3.
okay, the next one is going to be basically entirely new stuff. Like it's not going to be we're not following the path of the first game anymore. And that has me a little concerned because first of all, Square Enix hasn't done well by me in a long time, so I don't really trust their writing capabilities. And also, just based on the stuff that I saw in this trailer, I'm like, you're making some choices that I don't know if I appreciate. Like, we got Yuffie in from Intergrade, which I didn't play Intergrade, but like she's a coward now. I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah.
We went to, I forget the name of the town, but it's the place where Red is from, and it looked like they removed the like Native American aesthetic from it, and I was like, okay, well then what else is here? Like.
Oh,
Also,
but
there's
you
so
know-
little Native American anything in media, so it's like maybe we could have, instead of removing it, made it look cooler. Or
You
like
know
less
as well as
problematic. Like, I
everyone
don't know.
else does, they can come out and be a little racist. They can come out and be a little sexist. They can come out and be out of touch. People gonna buy the hell out of that game. It is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, look at 16. You know what I mean? You're right.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder, like
So-
you maybe said, does Era so she doesn't die anymore? I don't know how they're going to handle that. I'm sure she will. but-
So, yeah, it seems like that might not happen anymore. I don't know. Obviously, I mean, spoilers for a game from like the early 90s. But yeah, so she does die in the original one. But the way that the first game ends is almost literally, they're just like, hey, so we know how this game goes, and we don't want it to go that way anymore. And then you do a big boss fight that's not in the original game that seems like it's against a god of destiny, and you just like are rewriting your Zac Efron and Zendaya. You're rewriting your stars. Like it's crazy.
Gives her the business right here. Look at that slice. Sit down with your little cowboy hat. You
Yeah,
know,
like the game still looks good. I really like the first one.
Yeah, I know it's going to do
concerned.
it's going to sell gangbusters for them. I know they're going to do well on PlayStation.
Absolutely.
It's on 2 discs. I know a lot of PlayStation fans are excited for that, but it leads me back to the question we had before: why in the God's name was this not at Sony's showcase?
Mm-hmm. That's
Chief
a good
Keighley.
question, isn't it?
Lube.
No good answer.
I don't understand that. I would not have allowed this to be at his showcase.
Hold on. I'm sorry. Did Panda just say Jeff Keighley and Lube? I thought that's what I heard.
Yeah, that's how it was on his showcase.
Oh
Yeah.
God. Okay, I'm sorry. I just wanted to be sure. I just wanted to be sure I heard that. Okay, good.
Yeah,
Continue.
you
I'm
did.
sorry.
You did.
Jeff Keighley and Lube. Okay, good.
That's
stuff.
how
Good
it made
know.
it to the
All right.
showcase. His showcase, not PlayStation's. Jim Ryan wasn't willing to, go that
Jim
far.
was busy. Jim was busy elsewhere.
Yeah.
And he didn't see Keighley come in and sneak this away from him, huh? Oh
Yep.
boy.
Yeah. He was too busy in
It's-
the UK.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah.
My biggest fear of this game is that they're gonna do a big, and it's only a problem for me, but is that they're gonna do like a big thing where you can like transfer your save over from the first game to the second game, because I got fully hoed by PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
Where I don't own PS Plus. Like haven't had PS Plus for a really long time. So I beat the first game. I platinumed it actually, and I was like, oh, it'll be saved to the cloud because like I'm an Xbox guy, so I assumed that that's how it worked. Because I'm stupid. Like I expect things to be good and nice. And then sold my PS4 to buy my PS5. So my save is just gone. It's basically deleted.
That sucks.
So if there's a bit where they're like, yeah, upload your save and we'll give you like all this, like you can get your gear back and like all your materia, then I'll be like just completely SOL, and I'm not happy about it.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the game for Final Fantasy, like I said, I think it looks gorgeous. Visually, we know that's right. It's going to do well for Square, I think, overall. I have almost zero interest because it's not coming to Xbox. I can easily play it on my PlayStation 5 if I want it. But
Umbra, how would you rate this PlayStation Part 2 showcase?
if I had to rate this showcase, and that's what we'll transition to so we can wrap this up, I gave this showcase slightly better than PlayStation Showcase. I thought it was a 6 out of 10. And I'm probably being too generous, but I think that's, for me, it was a 6 out of 10 overall. What would you guys say? What were your overalls for this?
Yeah, I think I'm basically in the same ballpark where it's like I said at the beginning of the show, I feel like I had much different expectations for this show because Jeff Keighley doesn't need to sell me a box. Jeff Keighley doesn't need to sell me into the PlayStation ecosystem. All he needs to do is show me cool stuff. And there was cool stuff in here, right? Like Liza P, Sandland, Alan Wake. Granted, most of this was all stuff I already knew about, but I'll take a new trailer for some stuff that I'm excited for. Sure, why not? But because of just how much other nonsense and fluff was in here, and then all of the usual pacing issues, I really appreciate that Jeff Keighley is putting on a show. I would much rather have something than nothing, but it's just, I don't know. For me personally, I don't think Jeff Keighley has ever put on a banger show. I don't at all. I don't think he's done it in the Summer Game Fest. I think he's gotten a lot closer with the Game Awards.
Yeah.
I think specifically of the time that they showed off Hellblade in the new Xbox, that's a huge hit for him. But that has never been. There's never been anything else that's gotten anywhere near that level of hype for me.
Yeah.
Which, granted, it's a new console. It's a hard thing to match. But still, I feel like every other show that he's had is just okay, why do we have Al Pacino here talking for no reason? Why is Nick Cage here?
He's got a great ass. No, I agree with you.
There's so much about his shows that I just don't care about.
I do agree with you. The second closest would be the one that had Al Pacino funny enough to me because it had, what's his name? The Kratos voice actor. What's his name?
Chris Judge.
Chris Judge, and yeah.
He had that forever speech that he gave for 10 minutes. That was interesting, and of course they had the one when 2018. That's a memorable when Red Dead Redemption 2 was robbed for Game of the Year. But no, I agree with you. The most hype I think was when Xbox was shown. The Xbox Series X was shown there. So I agree with you. But his showcases and such are kind of hit or miss rather. So I agree with you. What would you say, Panda? What was your rating for the show?
I give it a 6 out of 10. I rated Sony's showcase higher because I feel like there were more games that I was interested in at Sony's showcase. I only rated Sony's showcase at 6.5 though, because Dragon's Dogma was there and stuff. If I was just looking at it as a PlayStation thing, it was a 3 out of 10. But this, 6 out of 10. It's nothing. It's more of a. I watched it. I'm not gonna go back and rewatch it again. But I'm also I know that I'm holding a lot of judgment waiting for the Xbox showcase, so I feel like I'm holding my breath, and I'll be able to weigh everything up properly once I can compare it to their showcase, and yeah, that's where my mind's at. I'm just excited for that showcase, but I do have to go, guys, because I actually have to run back into an impromptu meeting.
Absolutely. Panda, thank you for joining us, friend.
Great chatting with you, Panda.
It was.
Thank you.
Panda, where can everybody find you? And where, I know you have your show as well, so let everybody know where they can find you and everything.
You can find me on Twitter at Red Dead Panda 1, and that's the number 1. You can find me on Xbox, Red Dead Panda 871. Mainly just playing Diablo, like Umbra, no lifing Diablo at the moment. I am a co-host on the Gamers Initiative podcast on Elite Gaming Guru's YouTube channel, and we will be live my time tomorrow morning would be I don't even know what it's 5:30 Eastern in America. I believe so. 9:30 a.m. Yeah, 9:30 a.m. my time, 7:30 a.m. over in Australia on Melbourne's time. It's so confusing. There's 3 locations. Even we've got British Standard Time in there, so just to mess with you guys. But yeah, that's where you can find us. Yeah, we'll be talking about this tomorrow as well.
Nice. I have Panda and everybody on the show, their Twitter linked into the description. Definitely give them a follow if you haven't, and give her a follow and check them out. They're great people. Yeah, I think you all will love them too on their show.
Hashtag delete elite. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
All right. Have a good rest of the show, guys. Bye.
See you. Kay, what would you give the show, brother?
I love to be the dissenting opinion, but in this, I think I have.
Don't worry, bro. I got you, Asante.
Yeah, I want to be the dissenting opinion, but I too, unfortunately, must say, I thought it was decent. It wasn't terrible for me. This stuff I tend to look at with of two minds, because you always have to try and remember that in addition to the hardcore gamers and the people that call all the balls and strikes, there are also those normals out there who just kind of watch the show and go, hey, this was cool, you know. And looking at things with those eyes, I would say probably it's a 7, right? But to me personally, it felt like a runoff from other people's shows. That's what it felt like. It felt like, well, this is the Xbox show. Here's some runoff content. We have the PlayStation show. Here's some runoff content. Here's the Ubisoft Forward coming. Here's some runoff content. Here's some, you know, Capcom, it felt like a lot of runoff content. And because of that, he had 1 or 2 really interesting things. I loved Mortal Kombat 1. I am a Mortal Kombat 1 stan from like way back, right? Like I will stand for that IP above all. So I think that saved it for me. So I would say the Mortal Kombat alone gives me a 0.5. So 6.5 maybe. I don't know. I don't know.
That's not unfair. I agree that Mortal Kombat, I thought, stole the show out of everything shown, and there were some good games shown. You know, I just think like. And when I thought about it, I think Danny was right. The pacing was bad simply because if they would have cut down, like you both pointed out, the time of the show, it probably would have been seen better. So yeah, I agree with that. And Deli, what about you, brother? What was your overall? I know yours was kind of harsh, even harsher than mine. What was your overall view of the show?
I give it a 3 out of 10, maybe a 4, maybe a 4.
Well
I'm
done,
usually pretty hardcore with my criticisms, and I'm gonna stay true to that come Sunday, when I fire it all at Microsoft show. But I think the pacing was bad. I think that there were too many reveals that were like 1 minute long, which doesn't really serve the 2-hour time frame. With commercials and stuff, you know, and the after show. I mean, you're looking at 2.5 hours. I mean, if you're taking time off of work, which I don't advise anybody doing anymore, but if you're listening at work and stuff, or like you're watching on Twitter, or you're trying to like watch it with your friends, because you know it's time to celebrate games and stuff. It didn't feel like there was a lot to celebrate, because it didn't feel like there was enough that you could know about these games to celebrate them, right? Because if you look at all of the reveals, the majority of them are like 1 to 2 minutes long, right? The Alan Wake game, Alan Wake comes out in like 3 months from now, and we've seen no gameplay, and all we got was 3 minutes. And you know, granted, that's 3 minutes more than they could have shown anywhere else, but the fact that some of these games are coming out very soon and we've seen nothing about it. Remnant 2 comes out next month and we've seen nothing about it. You know, so I feel like it was a disservice to the Summer Games Fest to show very little, and it felt like at the end of the day padding or just fodder. Like you guys said it best, is it felt like rollover from other shows, or it felt like, you know, Jeff got the scraps. Which is unfortunate because you have the rest of the week. So if you were to ask me again at the end of the week and say, how do you feel about the Summer Games Fest as a whole, you know, for the whole week, I'd be like, you know, I'm sure that it doesn't matter. As long as I get games, I'm happy. But specifically talking about this showcase where people were like, hey, you know, show up at 3 p.m. I felt like there was very little to show up at, especially since a lot of these games are stuff that I already knew were going to release soon. So I know that they're going to be here, so I can wait, right? So my interest in them is already there because I'm already I have them on my calendar. So I'm not really worried about that. But the games that are immediately coming out that we've already known that were coming out here shortly, the ones that have had zero marketing, well, you know, we kind of needed that, or at least I feel like as a gamer, I needed that, and I didn't get much of it. So that's why ultimately at the end of the day, as a consumer, I'm disappointed. And I gave it a low score.
I see. Okay, that's well reasoned.
I completely agree, actually, because when you're talking about like, hey, we've seen pretty much all of this before, I 100% agree with that. The only game, I think I said it earlier, the only game here that I didn't know about beforehand, or that I, like you said, that I didn't already basically have on my calendar, was Sandland, and that's I don't even think we got a release date for that. Everything else, like Liza P, Alan Wake, like we already knew about those, right? And like those games still look great, and like I'm happy to see them, but you're 100% correct.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest takeaway from the show. A lot of things that they showed we knew about, we've seen them. Then it was a lot of stuff we didn't care about, the mobile stuff and things of that nature, and it didn't really speak to us as hardcore gamers. I think maybe
I'd be interested to hear from.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to hear from Brisket what the viewing experience was in person, because this is might be wrong. I think this is like the first Keeley show that didn't have like a musical number or anything like that.
Oh, good point. I forgot
you know
about
what I mean?
That. Sure didn't, did it? Yeah.
Because what was it, Game Awards or something? He brought out Halsey, and she just tore the roof off the place.
Yeah.
Well, but remember, this is also the first in-person Summer Game Fest. They always do it.
Yeah, so that's a weird two facts to put next to each other. This is the first one with like less pomp and circumstance, and it's also the first one to be in front of a crowd.
Yeah,
yeah,
good point. Good point.
Very unusual combined, right?
Yeah,
that's weird to. Yeah,
I imagine for those that attended, it was probably higher for them, maybe 7 or 8 for them because
they got to see Nicolas Cage.
So. Yeah, they saw celebrities.
They got their own. What do you call it? They got their own unbelievable. What is it? Your
breathtaking.
Your breathtaking moment with Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, that's true. And then of course, they just I guess the atmosphere. So I can see that rubbing off on them more positively. Pause. But yeah. Yeah, but overall, for me it was a 6. For UK, 6.5. Delhi, what, a 3 or 4?
3. Yeah, 3. I'm gonna give it a 3, just for the fact that I already knew about Mortal Kombat 1.
Yeah, a lot of these games.
Yeah.
So quickly, Delhi, let me ask you, what was your score for the PlayStation Showcase? Just a barometer.
My score for the PlayStation Showcase was 5, maybe I think I gave it a 6, maybe. Okay. Just because of a variety of games.
Yeah.
Just be able to have actual gameplay, so more than 2 minutes. And then we also have first party or just content and support. And I know that I don't actually have the VR2, but it's nice to know that Sony came out and said, hey, we're actually supporting the thing that we launched earlier this year. So seeing all of the games that are coming out, to me, that's important because that shows that there is an industry or there is support for it. And if you're willing to put money into what feels like a side platform, right, or what feels like a gimmick to a lot of consumers, because, it's still quite in its infancy, I feel like that shows that their dedication to it is going to be for the long term. And the VR1 felt like it lacked support for the first couple years, and the Vita as well too, which is very detrimental to launching launching a software. So I would say like, to me, that is where the majority of the points came to, and then the other majority of the points came to the fact that we got actual gameplay for a lot of these things, because a lot of those trailers that came out were like 5 minutes long. Whether or not those games actually spoke to me or spoke to you guys, like, I don't really necessarily like all the sci-fi shooting stuff. So like Immortals Avium, I'm like, I'm not interested. But the fact that we saw gameplay was more important than anything else.
Sure.
And to me, we saw more gameplay there than we saw gameplay here.
It is interesting you make this point, because I heard a lot of people giving PlayStation, the business for that showcase, and I, by and large, like you, like I said a minute ago, I tend to think of it in two ways, like as a gamer and as a person, a pundit, if you will, who pays attention to this stuff. And as a gamer, I too, like you, thought it was relatively decent show.
Fine,
right?
yeah, I thought it was okay.
PlayStation show, maybe not so much.
Well, not. If you asked me if I would buy a PlayStation off of this show alone.
Yeah.
Because like, let's say I just turned 17, I just got a big boy job, like I just finished my summer internship, and I'm like now working at a company, and now I make real money, quote unquote real money, and now I have $500 to spend.
17?
Yeah, or something like that, you know what I mean? So I work, maybe I go to school in California or something like that, right? So like now I'm like, okay, time to spend some money, and now I'm waiting for the big marketing push, and then I see the showcase, and my friends are all talking about the PlayStation 5. So I go watch the showcase. Am I going to buy a PlayStation off this? No, I'm not, because I don't feel like those games were very realistic of the actual time frame of the games that I would get on PlayStation for the rest of the year.
I would argue that if you didn't have another platform, you might for that PlayStation, because it showed a lot of, like you said, diversity, a plethora of games. If you don't know that they're everywhere else, you'd be like, there's a lot of games.
Yeah. If you didn't know, then you'd be like, wow, I have a lot to look forward to. So yeah, you can definitely make that what's it called? you can make that push, right? Or if you had like, oh, I haven't played my PS4 in a while, and then you're like, oh, by the way, guys, it's you can play all your PS4 games. Like that's a lot of the reason why I bought a PS5, because I just was like, oh, this is a PS4.5. Like, okay, cool. So I just went and bought it, and then I was just like, oh, I was just gonna wait for the PS5 games, and the PS5 games rolled in, and I said, cool, great, fantastic. But yeah, like I said, the most important thing for me as a consumer is seeing the stuff that they advertise and they push actually be supported, and that's a huge thing for me, not only as a consumer but as a developer, because it means that they're willing to put the money into the games, which at the end of the day, games do the talking. And I've been a consumer longer than I've been a developer, so I prefer to be shown games and not I don't care for title cards, and I don't care for like sizzle reels. I just need gameplay, and I just need games.
I will agree with you there, but I will disagree with you on as far as gameplay shown at PlayStation's versus this one. I thought this one showed more gameplay than PlayStation did, personally. But I think the problem was that it was a lot of games we had already seen and knew about. That was the problem.
Yeah.
I think if you broke it down by minutes, PlayStation might have it beat, because Spider-Man was like, what, 15 minutes?
Yeah, Spider-Man did have 15 minutes, so I think that pads out the time,
I agree with everything you guys are saying. I just feel like, and I think I said this earlier, I just have different expectations for a PlayStation showcase and a Summer Game Fest, in terms of like, PlayStation needs to accomplish more things for me personally for their showcase to feel like a success than Jeff Keighley's show does.
And it has been 2 years since a showcase, so I can understand that a lot of people were disappointed by that, right? But again, I'm not constantly on the back foot saying like, oh, I can't wait for the next game to come out. I have plenty of games to come out. Play your backlog, y'all.
Sure.
So to me, I'm not really worried about that. But I do know a lot of consumers buy the game. Like I see them on Twitter all the time. I interact with them. Like they buy the game day one, they beat it that week, and then they go, what's next? And for me, that's impossible for me. I just can't keep up with everything, right? I try to play games when I can, and if you guys follow me on Twitter, I'm only talking about the games that I'm currently playing, and sometimes I'm like years behind, so yeah, I'm like trying to catch up. But yeah, for those hardcore consumers, I can totally understand why it's like a 2 out of 10. I could totally understand why they're not impressed by it, and they should be, like, they should hold that opinion readily, because at the end of the day, it's their money as well. Not only is it mine, right? So if they invested on the PlayStation 5, expecting PlayStation 5 games, expecting VR games, expecting next generation games, and they didn't get that, I can understand why they're upset. But for me, I just want games in general. So it doesn't matter if it's indie games or if it's large AAA budget games. I just want games in general, because at the end of the day, I think that the experiences matter more than the budget or the style of game. So again, my expectations as a consumer a lot different than other people's. Which is why my personal opinion differs so much from a lot of people. But at the end of the day, I think that if I can make a well-constructed argument on why I think that, I can convey why I think, how I feel about things, I think that it lends more to the conversation at hand.
Yeah, definitely. This game on screen, by the way, I remember seeing this.
That's
on
amazing.
Yeah,
I'm looking at it. It's dope. I'm looking at this now going, I can't wait to play this. This is amazing.
Yep. This right here is very interesting to me. I remember seeing it on Twitter some time back. Yeah, it looks dope.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think I'll play this for sure. But anyway, hey, we want to wrap it up, and I want to thank our guests for coming through. Thank you, Red Dead Panda, for coming through. Thank you, Kay Asante, and thank you, Deli, for coming through and giving us your takes rather, and your opinions on things. Kay, where can everybody find you, brother, and what do you have going on this week?
Oh, I will first and foremost say I appreciate the invite to the Fix. Always appreciate it. That theme song gets me going, so I appreciate you. And it was great chatting with Panda. Great to meet her, and of course you too, Deli. Very, very introspective takes, and I really like the way you frame your thoughts. So I've been looking forward to more thoughts from you in the future. You can find me TK Asante on Twitter, Xbox, PlayStation, all those places you want to find me. This weekend, I am the co-host of the Gaming Circle podcast with my buddy, Mr. Everborn Saga. This weekend, we will be watching last year's showcase and talking about what we want for this year's showcase. And we'll be doing so with myself, Mr. Everborn Saga, some community members in the form of Pixelbit G, and the one Infinite Umbra. So come check us out tomorrow. Saturday, I should say.
Indeed.
10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It won't be a long show. It'll just basically be the length of the last show. Just our pre-game show to get us excited for what we want to see, and talk about some rumors and speculation. We got our hands on a bit of rumors and speculation, so it'll be fun. So come check us out Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah. Oh, and then Sunday, you're with us on Boom's post show, right?
That's
Indeed,
right.
I am. Yes, it'll be a podcasting weekend for the ages.
Yep.
So we're gonna have a lot of fun this weekend. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yep. Thank you, Kay. Always appreciate you. You guys make sure you tune in for Boom and all of us. We're all going to be this All-Star cast. Actually, it's All-Star cast Saturday as well later on in the day with Boxing Burger. All of us will be on there as well. Yep. So, man, it's a lot to look forward to as far as that goes. And Deli, our good brother Deli, who's a developer in multiple companies. I much like Kay, me and Danny definitely appreciate your takes and thoughts on things and the way you look at things. So, where can everybody find you, brother, and what would you be up to next?
You guys can best find me at twitter.com/agentdeli. And of course, the links is in the description. What am I up to next? Well, currently traveling for work and some other things that I can't really talk about, but some exciting things, coming into the future, coming down the pipeline, and just playing more games. I'm not entirely sure what's next on the plate. I still have to finish Forbidden West. I'm like on the last 2 or 3 missions. But I probably will be looking forward to playing Alan Wake 2 here shortly. Probably will do a rerun of that, and then I'm going to dive into Season 4 of Call of Duty. I'm an avid Call of Duty player, and probably some more Forza Horizon 5. I beat Redfall not too long ago. I thought it was decent. So looking for more Redfall support, and the Saints Row, what's it called? The Saints Row DLC and content updates and patches and fixes will be coming in shortly. So I'll probably go back and revisit that and try to see if if they breathe more life into the game, because I also too enjoyed that game last year. So I thought it was kind of fun.
Nice.
So, right. But thank you for having me, and I really appreciate it. This is the second time I've been on the show, actually, and this is the first time that I've formally talked to Asante. I've seen his stream, and I've asked him about his opinions on the Steam Deck months ago when he got it in. So, but yeah, it's nice to be able to formally talk to you, and of course, it's always nice to be able to talk about games, because I really just love talking about games, the games industry, and talking about the hobby that we all love.
Absolutely, and we can tell it shines through. And thank you again for joining us again, brother. Like, we had a great time talking with you the last time, and I know you had to go a little bit earlier that time, so it was good to have you for the full show this time. And Danny, my brother, where can everybody find you, and what will you be up to?
Absolutely. So you can find me on Twitter at Daniel J. McG, or at my personal YouTube channel of Daniel McG. You can find me obviously here, but also every Tuesday morning at 11 o'clock Central, noon Eastern, on the Xbox Factor podcast, or this weekend, Sunday, immediately after the Xbox Showcase on the... his channel's just called Double Barrel Gaming, correct? Boomstick's channel?
Yeah,
Yep.
Double
Okay,
Barrel.
I was
Yeah.
confused because I'm very stupid.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think this was a really great show. 2 of my favorite guests, with Panda, I think, climbing up that ladder pretty fast herself.
Yeah.
So a lot of fun tonight, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. We went over a bit longer than we wanted to again, but again, that's just a sign of great conversation.
Look, man,
Yeah.
we always seem to.
Yeah, always. I'm like, we're going to keep it short. 3 hours later. Yeah, so.
Welcome to podcasting, boys. I'm waiting for
True
that
intro.
4-hour
That's the real
podcast
intro
one
to
day.
our
I'm
show.
waiting for it.
Man, hey, maybe this Xbox showcase might bring it out of us. We'll see. Yeah, but guys, thank you all in the chat for being here with us and supporting us as you do. If you have not done so yet, please hit the like button, and if you haven't done so, especially hit the subscribe button. We appreciate you guys, and we are going to get out of here. Much love, everybody.